For Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. This meeting is being broadcast live by Westford Cable Access TV and recorded for playback online. Attendees are reminded by participating or attending this meeting, you're consenting to your likeness and audio being broadcast and recorded in this manner. We'll start our agenda at 7 p.m. with the open forum. Any commissioners have something for open forum? Jim?
Yep, I got a large number of items that I wanted to see on the agenda. I mentioned 3 weeks ago at the last meeting, and then 5 weeks ago at the meeting before that, and I think the meeting before that too. First off, we had issued back in June 3 fines associated with CSX railways, and I still don't see it on the agenda, and I don't know what's the status on that. I'm not open forum, we don't talk about the status, but I need to know what it is.
Okay.
So we have the one for the RWC, their subcontractor, for CSX themselves, and for their environmental consultant. So there's 3 of them. And even with the delay in getting the violation notices out, we're still up against the 45 or past the 45-day limit for payment. So I don't know what's happened. I haven't heard a word about it. It's been 5 months. Okay. The signage at East Boston camps, I've been mentioning this now for a couple of years. The signs are still, I was there on Sunday, so if it was changed after Sunday, great. If it wasn't, we need to change them. The signage contains references to Mass General Law that doesn't make any sense. It's talking about hazardous waste dumps, not violation of bylaws. At the meeting we had with Teamworks, I had asked for facilities reports that are required by the contract for the last year, so I'm still looking for those, as well as the facilities maintenance contract.
You and I had talked about that. Have we ever received any reports from any of the caretakers?
I have not been able to find any reports predating my time as.
Postdating your time, there's some though? After you arrived, there's some?
No, since from now, I've not been able to. No reports were submitted predating.
No written reports from the contractor.
Or the prior contract, or the prior caretaker.
Either way,
Yes.
the other half of that question was to actually need the facilities maintenance contract. Because there is no contract online that I could find. There's a draft one.
Okay.
I don't know if the draft one is the one that we ended up using or not. I don't know, but I want the one that's signed by us, and not by us, but by the town manager and the maintenance person.
Yep.
So then we know what the requirements are, and then I can find out if we should be having facilities reports or if we're delinquent. And we should know that well before we consider renewing any contracts or going out for another one.
Well, at this point, I believe we've done as many extensions as we can
Well,
on.
there's no extension, so it's.
Whoever bids, I want to know if they neglected to follow their first contract, then they're not going to be really high in my book for the second contract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next, we had cut the trees down that were cuttable by the town, but there's some that are still on contract. We should be tracking that. We should have that on our agenda list.
Oh, you mean
at East
the,
Boston camp's entrance. Remember, there were two categories of trees: the ones that the town could handle, which they did. And the
No,
ones
I was going to assess them.
the town can't handle.
So the one that the pine that was identified the largest of the pines in that center triangle,
The most rotted one.
that was removed.
Yes, it was.
The other ones, as part,
a bigger contract.
well, it was. I was going to assess. I need to go out and assess them and any pruning of larger limbs.
Okay.
But
Exactly, that's exactly what has to happen, but that should go on our list of topics to track also. Did we ever send a letter to Summer Village about the fireworks and the?
no.
Okay, we need to put that on the list until that gets done too.
We need to get him in a system.
And I still want to talk about using our the revolving fund money perhaps to hire police detail when needed during appropriate days in the summertime when we have really bad problems with our beach control. And I think to do that, we ought to talk with whoever the police officer is that coordinates the details and explain what we're looking for and see if there's something we can adapt and work it out.
Have we,
I
did
don't
we
wanna-
try
I
and?
don't want to solve it now, but.
No,
I just wanna-
but I think what you're talking about, hiring police details,
Yep.
came up in prior years.
I keep
We
bringing it
made
up.
the offer.
Yeah.
I was opposed to it in the past, but now
No.
I'm not.
I've requested them, I think it was 2 years ago prior to Memorial Day, and they didn't have, it wasn't filled. So again, it's a volunteer detail that somebody has to take, and if it's, again, a nice weekend in the summer,
Yep.
sometimes it's up to the discretion of the off-duty officers to, and we can,
Did we call it all
We need discussion.
last summer?
we can ask
So-
going forward.
And I think what we should probably do, maybe what makes sense is to put it on so that, as a discussion item, so we can talk about it.
That's why I'm bringing it up now, because we're not supposed to solve it at tonight's meeting.
But also, yes, but we need to have a more detailed discussion about what's feasible and what's not.
I think that's it.
So we need to talk to the police.
That's it. If we put these on the list, my open forum entries will get much shorter.
Okay. Any other members have anything? Matt, do you have anything for open forum?
Just that the continued public hearing for 6 Olive Road 334-1879, the applicant has requested a continuance without discussion to November 12th. So if any, I tried to reach out to the abutter to
What's the name?
Holt de Castro. It's the last thing on the agenda,
Thank
or
you.
on the agenda. So, but in case somebody was here for that, just to,
Okay, I see.
didn't want them sitting around for a continuance.
Okay.
Do any members of the audience have something for open forum? Okay, moving on to our next 7 PM agenda item. It's a continuation of a public hearing and issue order of conditions for Andreopolis, 8 Windsor Way.
If I may start, the DEP file number was issued after the commission's last meeting. DEP had one comment, recommendation, a perpetual condition regarding proper management of pool water be included. This, in my review of the draft special conditions, we already talk about dewatering. There's a special condition about dewatering, but special condition 38. But that's, in my reading of it, more kind of during construction. So a additional special condition was added. That be any dewatering of the constructed pool be directed to an upland lawn area for infiltration. And additionally, in review, no conservation posts were proposed as part of the project or discussed, and that special condition was deleted. The strike-through will be removed if approved by if the change is approved by the commission, just so that numbering is consistent.
Members of,
And was provided to the
yeah,
homeowner.
Yeah, I know my engineer's not here today, but he was here at the previous meetings, and the pool company is all set with. I think we're really happy with you guys. I appreciate all the hard work and all the meetings that we've had to go through this process, and I think we're happy with where we're at right now.
okay. Do any members have comments or questions on the special conditions? Can I have a motion to issue the special conditions as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All set.
Thank you.
Be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to our other 7 PM agenda item. It's a public hearing for the Town of Westford Department of Public Works, the North Main Street culvert replacement over Reed Road.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, at 7 p.m. in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the notice of intent application of Westford Department of Public Works. for work within jurisdictional wetlands and associated 100 and 200-foot buffer zones to replace the existing culvert where Reed Brook crosses under East Prescott Street at North Main Street, near 125 North Main Street, map 24, parcel 7, lot 0.
Good evening. Thanks for having us tonight. My name is Jeremy Downs. I'm the Assistant Town Engineer. With me tonight I have Sebastian Sack and Kate Wilkins from Ty and Bond. They're our designers on this project. So we're before the Commission tonight for a notice of intent to replace the Reed Brook culvert, which is located on North Main Street, just before becoming East Prescott, right next to the entrance to the day school. The existing culvert's a 36-inch diameter corrugated metal culvert that's beyond its useful life, just like a lot of our culverts that have been before you recently. It needs to be replaced. The culvert was identified in our 2021 town-wide culvert assessment report as needing to be replaced because of its condition and its location. We're proposing to replace the existing metal pipe with a 9x5 concrete box culvert that will be embedded to allow us to have a continuous stream bottom, which currently doesn't exist. And this project is very similar to the Acton Road project that was recently permitted a few weeks ago before the Commission. So with that, I'll hand it over to Sebastian to hit on some of the highlights of the design, and then we can answer any questions the Commission may have.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. As Jeremy mentioned, my name is Sebastian Sack. I'm a staff engineer at Ty and Bond, and we're assisting the town in the design of this replacement culvert. As Jeremy mentioned, we are replacing a 36-inch metal pipe with a 9.25-foot precast concrete box culvert. This precast concrete box culvert will improve the hydraulic flow through this channel. We are working to meet the Massachusetts River and Stream Crossing Standards to the maximum extent practicable. This includes providing a natural stream bed within the box culvert with a minimum of 2 feet at the center and more at the sides of the banks. Additionally, the design meets 1.2 times the bankful width. Bankful width at this site was measured in the field to be 7 feet, so our 9.25 culvert exceeds that requirement. While we are not meeting the openness ratio, the desired openness ratio, we are providing a much improved openness ratio to the existing culvert, where it's creating a blockage for passage currently, where we would be providing a much more improved hydraulic connectivity and crossing for wildlife. As part of the wetland impacts, since this culvert is part within jurisdictional wetlands as well as land underwater, we are looking to minimize the impacts to this replacement project. We have temporary impacts at this site as well as some permanent impacts. And for the permanent impacts, we're looking to create a replication area at the north side of the project site. So looking at the site plan here, the temporary impacts, the proposed replication area is 60 square feet at the north side of the structure, and this is to mitigate the area to the south of the structure where we are having permanent impacts of 60 square feet. There will be temporary impacts to vegetated wetlands. Adjacent to that, those will be replaced in kind in that location. Additionally, this project will have some utility coordination and replacement, including gas main replacement and a water main replacement. We're looking to have these utilities permitted as part of this project as well, as the impacts are within the project limits. And with that, we would like to open it up to any questions from the Commission.
Any members of the Commission have
What was your
questions?
timeline? Just what was your timeline again?
For construction, so spring, summer, likely we're going to probably package this with the Acton Road culvert, so those two will be,
It's
our plan is to construct them, but probably not simultaneously.
And I had a question about the timeline too. Are you going to try and work around the day school schedule
Yes, we'll definitely,
in the summer?
yeah, so we definitely, this one will be definitely done during summer, lower flows, and because we are right at the day school. And we'll work with the, the day school, the school department if there's any events going on there, so we'll coordinate with them.
So I imagine the roads will be shut off for a while, right?
So we're still working through those details, but our intention is to shut the road down for a short period of time, whether that's a week, 5 days, trying to figure out what we could safely do it in, give the contractor the ability to get the major construction done, remove the existing culvert, get the new culvert in, and then open the road up and then allow them to work on the wing walls, head walls off to the side of the road with alternating traffic during the day. We're going to do our best to really to minimize impacts to the area residents and the traveling public.
Matt, do you have any?
Do you have any, again, and this is probably subject to change based upon the contractor selected, but any potential laydown yards?
So during construction, when the road shut down, they'll be able to take full advantage of the full road width. Beyond that, it really would be up to the contractor to find their own yard.
Okay. Just maybe a special condition, just included to confirm with the commission, or with the commission and or its agent in advance, so,
Sure.
it's not shown on the plan, but, we want to make sure that where they're choosing is, a good location.
They may choose, like for the wing walls, they may choose to haul those in on trailer and then just install them.
Yep.
There's really not a lot of area here. This is school, so there may be something they try to work with the school to utilize some of the parking area if the school isn't using it. But those details would need to get worked out. It's really the responsibility of the contractor, but we'd certainly, appreciate a condition.
Any comments or questions from members of the audience on this project? Okay. So are we looking at drafting the special conditions? And, is there, other than approving an order of conditions, is there anything else we need to continue for?
DEP did provide comments end of last week, beginning of this, and I think that was addressed with kind of the replication.
It was already addressed, so I think the confusion was, if you look down here, there's an area of wetlands that's going to get disturbed as part of construction, and we're going to be restoring that.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the north side, as Sebastian pointed out, we're going to have this replication. This will be the actual replication for the wetland that will be lost down on the
Okay.
side. So we can respond to DEP, but the submittal and the NOI that was submitted really addressed.
Okay, great. Just wanted to double check and get it in the record.
So in the NOI we provided.
2-to-1.
The replication's 1-to-1, correct?
1-to-1, correct.
In terms of when you would be looking, we've got the November 12th meeting is our next meeting, and then our next meeting is not until December, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Are you at the point of wanting to get this, you've got any other approvals you need, and you,
We do. This is the last approval we need, and then we'll probably be looking to put it out to bid in early December.
okay,
So in the bid package, we provide the order conditions, so the contractor has it and is aware.
We can draft them for November 12th if.
okay. So,
If that's possible. I mean, certainly if it's later, it's later.
okay. So can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to November 12th?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
We have one meeting in November.
Moving on to our 7:10 PM agenda item, it's an appointment with Eagle Scout candidate Gargaloff for replacement of the Snake Meadow Brook Conservation Land Site.
Mr. Salem? Yeah. Here's a presentation.
Oh, the presentation. If I unplug you, oh no, don't want to do that.
You could give her Margaret, she could email it to you.
Yeah, no,
No, I'm not connected to the network.
Oh, I am, but I can't do USB.
No, I got it. There we go. Let me just copy this as well, so I have a copy and put it in the meeting packet for the record. Right.
Alright, I'm Tiago Gargaloff, and I'm planning on fixing the sign for the Snake Meadow Brook Trail. So here is the trail, the sign. It's weathered, it looks not too good. My plan is to fix it and improve it. Next slide is the location. It's near Stony Brook Middle School. It'll impact the community there, and improving it would be very important to them, probably. So my idea for fixing the sign is slightly based off of these other signs for Slipher and Mystery Spring. These are all very nice looking signs, and I plan to improve the Snake Meadow Brook Trail by using this idea. So I have 3 big questions. I'm wondering if I'll need a permit for this one. I'm wondering if there are sign requirements and if there's additional information.
So like when the sign was originally done, I think a piece had broken off at the top. But other than that, that piece snapped off. I thought that sign was pretty good in what we kind of wanted.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming it's going to be just pretty much like the sign is, except, the top piece won't be broken off.
It'll be new.
Right, and I think looking at Slifer, and again, because predates me, but looking at the Slifer and the Snake Meadow Brook signs,
Yeah.
I think they were from a piece of a tree. I mean, they have a weathered, they have, an irregular edge, it's
Yeah.
not, I mean, even, yeah, it's not a 2x10 or something. So I don't know how that was done. If you want to kind of tackle,
How old is that sign?
Yeah, it's as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Does it really matter if it's a piece of wood that we salvage or whether it's just wood?
no, I mean, again, we've had some other recent trailhead markers, like
Well,
these.
either that or like Timberlake up the road.
It's,
And you go on to, what is that, Tenny right there.
mhm.
And, that's another good look for a sign.
Right, and that's kind of a more
Well, it's a.
regular than, say,
it's
Mystery
more
Spring.
regular in
Grassy
shape and
Pond's
more
another
defined than
example,
the
and
Mystery Spring sign.
East Boston Camps or Stony Brook Conservation Area.
Well, yeah, there were, I mean, the Peace Trail, but it's been since removed during construction, but,
Mostly like the Mystery Spring one with the brown.
yeah,
background and white lettering.
or I think, yeah, tan, I think it's some tan.
But it would be new wood, we wouldn't be.
We
looking
can,
to
we can
conserve.
send, again, the Eagle Scout 2 or 3 years ago who did a couple, I think it was 3 or 4 he addressed. We can provide that PowerPoint and his kind of, his design characteristics. I do not think I may need to check with the Department of Public Works because this may be within the right of way, just to get their confirm that you don't need anything.
Any
Being on the inside of, or being between the roadway and the stone wall, just
Well, is
want
he only replacing the sign, but the posts that are holding the sign
How-
in place, so he doesn't need to?
have you checked the posts, or?
I believe they're not in that good of condition.
Okay, I mean, that could be something else to,
Yeah.
What was the answer?
Match the font, match the lettering size, and then roughly the sign size when it was intact. I think
Yes.
that'd be good.
yeah.
All right.
And put new poles.
And also, I mean, it says Westford Conservation Commission, but also, I think the trail may, as it heads back towards Pilgrim Lane, Pilgrim Drive. I know there is a select board parcel in here as well. It may be, try to figure out
Can you
if.
clarify that for him and tell
Yeah,
him that?
right, no, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we may be adding,
What, the Schleifer property?
No,
No,
the
no.
select board, because there's
That
a,
that there's two owners of property.
Oh,
the
yeah,
trail
connected
crosses.
to the trail,
Yeah.
yeah.
just, again,
We can
recognize.
send you a
every-
letter telling you if you have to add anything or not.
Yeah, if amenable by the commission, we can certainly,
Just put town of
Sounds
Westford
good.
instead of Westford Conscom.
yeah.
Well, But no, you want to make sure that people are aware that it's,
It's more direct.
it's under conservation. Make clear that it's conservation.
Yeah, I like it better at
That,
conservation.
and that way, if anybody has questions, they know who to come to.
Usually it's, oh, I have conservation land, and I get to figure out what type of conservation land it is.
No, but the point is, it alerts you, so
Yeah.
there are some rules and regulations, so
Yeah.
I'd want it the same. I'm not looking for new in language, as much as I am appreciative of, a new sign that,
So leave the sign in the language as is?
yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah,
Okay.
actually.
Give it a
yes.
refresh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's
and
fine.
I'd be most appreciative of that.
But I think it's also good, just to check with Highway that if there was, if they had recommendations.
You doing this for Scouts?
About position or whatever.
Yeah.
You doing this with Scouts or anything, or just by
Yeah,
yourself?
Steve
This is for
Even so-
scouts, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't look. Oh, yeah, it's right on there, I apologize.
So we've given you enough information?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
You know
thank
where to
you.
find us if you have more questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe one question is the color of the letters. Does it need to be white?
I think I have a reference for what it is, because I think it's an off-white, it's kind of like a cream, because, I mean, I can only imagine white would get dirty pretty quick.
How about if we
Um,
leave it black, but how about if we leave it the way it is currently, though? I'm not
Just
so
natural-
into
I mean-
swapping it out and having it look more like the Mystery Spring sign.
Yeah, I like it black better.
With no brown, with no brown background?
Yeah, just leave it natural.
Okay,
Just replace what's there.
okay.
So it's
So
going
if I was to do
be
something else, then I'd say do it like the one off the road on Timberlake,
Mhm.
where that's more of an established sign, but, again, looks more in line of signs that we were looking for, conservation properties.
You have a question?
Yes. So you say you had a document that we can look at.
Yep, I should be able to find what was previously reviewed by the commission again, and kind of, at least in terms of lettering and size, again, so that it's consistent across the multiple properties.
Okay. And it looks like that, or is different?
It looks more like this one in terms of the coloring, but at least it'll be a frame of reference for, general size and, how to, what the language on it should be.
Okay.
So the PowerPoint slide will give the specifics about lettering and such, but in terms of coloration.
Yeah, we said dark.
We'd want it to be like the existing sign.
The one that's currently there.
Yeah.
So we want it to look just like that.
Yes,
like new?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Does he need to schedule any other meeting, or is this the approval for
I
him?
think
to
if the
move
commission is amenable, I'd be, can sign off on the commission,
Sure.
on the commission's behalf
We don't
on
need it. We don't
the
need
Eagle Scout
another-
project.
forward? Okay.
Yeah,
If any
look at that.
concerns, he can come to you.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
Any
Just,
questions?
again, for
But he doesn't have to
initial,
come back to us.
No,
yep, okay, great.
we'd like to see it when it's done.
Yes.
We will.
I know, I'm teasing, I'm teasing.
Are there any comments or questions on this proposal from members of the audience? No?
We have a
Okay.
time, did we have a timeline on when you wanted to start?
I'd leave by spring of next year.
Okay.
Where are you aging out?
Like summer, late summer.
Certainly get that done.
Thanks for thinking of this for a project.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let me pop out your flash drive.
So while Matt's retrieving the flash drive, we're going to move on to our 7:15 PM agenda item, which is a continuation of public hearing and issue order of conditions for Zone Living LLC, 37 Powers Road.
comments. For the record, Brian Gaudreau with Hancock Associates. So since the last hearing, we reviewed the draft order. We had a couple of comments that we relayed to Matt. Nothing significant. It just revolved a little bit around timing. Other than that, we feel that the order of conditions is good.
Did I give you my email? Was it print? Was there an email of mine with the public hearing notices?
I don't remember that.
No, it was, yes, it was more just
Okay.
for my own kind of finding my back and forth.
Just one page?
Yeah, just one.
Okay. Cold in here.
I have a question on that for you.
Thanks a lot.
Yep.
In the project description, it just talks about that this project involves part of building 4, and that's it. Parts and no other buildings?
So within the resource area, within the buffer to the resource area, it's only building 4. I mean, and again, that's kind of the associated with the proposed,
Okay.
but
Then, note third, or what do you call it, condition 32 talks about if the proposed project is to be constructed in phases. I thought, given that we're just doing portion of building 4, that was like one of the phases, but if we're not doing phases.
Well, they are doing phases.
They are doing phases.
But a lot of the phases will be outside of our jurisdiction.
This only has to do with our jurisdiction, right?
Yeah, so for
So
clarity,
Part of building 4
Say again?
and some of the improvements near it.
Well, no, but also all of the restoration of the graded area.
correct.
So landscaping, gravel paths, fitness area, sports, those things, plus part of building 4.
Right.
Okay, that's listed in the project description, and so then effectively we're not doing phases, right?
Well,
Correct. So at the last hearing, if you recall, I went through construction sequencing. It's not phasing of the project. When you think about phasing, it means that we're going to build one portion of it, and then who knows, we'll build another portion whenever the market can bear it. We're going to be building this entire project, and then I had marched through how we anticipate the contractor to do that. So for phasing, the entire project is a phase.
but it will be done in sequences.
Correct.
Okay. And each sequence may have work in area that's under our jurisdiction.
So is it phases or not?
It's,
I was phasing by any other name.
well, it's how,
What's
so,
in phase 1?
do you want me to call,
That's what I mean, if it's in
Well-
phases, we should have them defined someplace, and they're not.
so
But,
I guess you're thinking,
so we're constructing the entire
Yes,
project,
there's no phasing.
not phasing it.
Correct, exactly, so it is not phasing. If you want to say it's phasing, then you got to tell me what the phases are, but they're not.
oh, in condition, for the language of condition 32?
Correct, the first sentence.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was kind of a,
I know,
The way that we
He's
took
cleaning it
the,
up.
yeah, so the way that we took 32 was if we were to kind of break apart the project and say do something in 2026, and then the next phase would be in 2029, then this condition would come into effect, and we would have to describe how we're going to phase it, because all of the stormwater is interrelated, parking's interrelated, the amenity space and the restoration are interrelated, so we would have to figure out which portions of the project would be constructed where. Because we're constructing the entirety of the project as a single phase, it's continuous construction from 2026 to whenever it's done. So again, we took 32 as if we were not doing it continuously, we would then give you a plan and show you kind of how to segment the project.
If
okay,
it-
I'm all right, if it starts out, if the proposed project is to be constructed in phases, so it's not, if it ever changes and does it, that'll
And we'll
apply.
come back in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm good. That's
Okay.
good.
I had one change to the finding where it talks about that the project will be served by town water. I wanted to add to that there will be a
Irrigation.
private on-site well for the irrigation, the landscape irrigation. Just to be clear that town water is going to be only for the buildings. Any irrigation they need to do is being done by a private well on site.
Words to that effect, let's say.
Yes.
Okay.
And I emailed Matt that, so hopefully that's in an amended version.
yes. And then kind of touching on some of the correspondence between Brian and myself from today. One of them was special condition 68, which prior to the request for any occupancy permit, all parking and stormwater design. And this again is fairly common for a commercial project where there's one activity, where there's one, say, building being proposed, and so we want to make sure that the stormwater is being effectively captured, you know, when the occupancy permit is being issued. Brian raised a good point in that in the planning board's stormwater management decision, there was one that was stated prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for each building, the applicant shall submit an as-built plan with certification from, again, we kind of lifted this from previous stormwater management decisions and reviews by our engineering department. So amending the first sentence to say, prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for each building, then we have, you know, certification that the stormwater is being, is appropriate for what the work that's been done. And the second one was for, and again, kind of got back to the sequencing of the project in special condition 61. Again, kind of back to that previous point, prior to the request for an issuance of any occupancy permit for the project, Brian proposed it be prior to the request for an issuance of the final occupancy permit for the project, the conservation posts be required to be installed. My thought was prior to the request for an issuance of the final occupancy for the permit for the project, and or as directed by the commission or its agent. Again, if, you know, the multimodal path on kind of the northeast side of the project is being done first, and building 1 is, you know, 1 and 2, or, you know, are the proximate buildings to that are installed, and, you know, the residents are living there, and people are starting to kind of encroach through, you know, the no disturb buffer that doesn't exist because, or is it no, you know, they're not aware of the notice because there's, you know, not posts. Kind of give us an option to say, hey, go put these in because, you know, we're starting to see, you know, foot traffic
Okay.
trying to get down to the pond, and
Okay,
be a
so
balance
it's-
between the
It's a
two.
just in case.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that also apply for the conservation area maintenance, is if you start to see that the landscaping crew, because they don't have these posts to guide them as to how far they can go, they may be maintaining areas that are intended to be allowed to renaturalize. So yeah, I think that ties in with your suggested wording, that we could, you know, that the agent can say, okay, you need to start putting posts in.
Yep, and we'd be agreeable to that, absolutely.
Okay.
So I have a question, and it goes back to previous order conditions. So this facility is going to be hooked up to public water and for irrigation and other, you know, non-potable, you know, that you're going to have your own private well. So my only thought is, didn't we a while back find PFAS on a property not too far away from here in the groundwater? And, you know, I'm just wondering about the potential impacts of using non-potable water that's contaminated with PFAS and using it, you know, as irrigation on this property. So, you know, I don't know how much they're pumping, I don't know what the cone of influence is, I don't know any of that. And I don't even know if PFAS, you know, for, you know, using it non-portable for irrigation and other things is okay. But it wasn't all that far away from the site,
Yeah.
right down the road.
Yeah, it's the abutting property to the rear of.
Yeah. So I didn't know what the cone of influence is and would he be dragging it into a site?
Where's the site located?
It's Ideal Block. So
So it's south.
yeah. It's,
So we, not that we want to really get into this, but we have to do a hydrogeologic analysis for our wastewater treatment plant. As a part of that, we've established that groundwater flows from the north to the south. So any PFAS or contamination issues wouldn't be going in the opposite direction. If that gives you any level of comfort.
Assuming that.
I'm hearing what you're saying, but I haven't seen, that's your
Yeah.
conclusion. But,
You need a diagram.
based on, the analysis that you've done, but, I don't know. That's, that's your finding.
I mean,
But without having.
I mean, the
looked at
private
any
well,
study, I
the private
can't say
well would
whether
be.
or not I agree with it.
The private wells under the board,
Correct.
they would get the well drilling permit, get the water sampling for that, so.
Hey, I didn't even know if it was part of the water sampling program.
I
You know,
don't know if that's something that gets handled.
Yeah, I don't know, but you're asking us just to agree to something, and I'm like, geez, I'm agreeing to this and saying it's okay, but I know there could potentially be an issue, but you're saying it's not issue because it's not kind of in our jurisdiction. But yeah, kind of we're discussing it on our order of condition.
Why would the Board of Health test the water that's not going to be used for drinking?
It's just for any well,
Okay.
it's
And-
regardless of whether it's.
And I think, the topic of what this on-site well could bring up, we have PFAS that are existing, we don't know what will, if anything, will be uncovered in the groundwater down the road, but I think all of that pre-existing and anything future would probably be within the domain of the Board of Health.
I would think so, again, I'm not, that's,
Do we-
Raising the issue because we brought it up in, discussing,
Okay.
what's going to be potable, and that's coming from the town, and irrigation, which is going to be private. And, kind of not knowing how much you're going to be pumping and stuff like that. Again, I just didn't know what the influence was going to be.
Do we want, would the appropriate next step be to, make the Board of Health aware of our concerns about PFAS on an adjacent property and assuming that.
And I got this, and I have this, residential use property that's going to be using, groundwater, as, for irrigation purposes.
You can send them a note.
I can,
Send them a note, make them aware of it.
Yeah,
And if they have any
mean,
discoveries, to let us
I mean,
know.
I would think we would be remiss if we didn't.
yeah,
I mean, we're only trying to look out for people's, best interest there.
and make
health
sure,
and welfare.
Okay. And
make sure
then-
that the jurisdictional town, board is aware that this is something that they should,
And if we pump it out of the ground and we put it on plants and do other things, is there creating more of a problem?
Yep.
Are they mowing grass or lawn that's been PFAS contaminated, and then they're putting it somewhere? I mean, I tell you, PFAS is just becoming more and more of an issue, and it seems to be multifaceted. So, I'd rather be proactive in making sure
Doesn't hurt
that,
anything.
we look at this instead of saying, oh, I wish we hadn't have done this.
so are your comments kind of indicating that you maybe are not comfortable with this order? Well, so I guess.
I'm not comfortable with using groundwater and pumping it out if I know there's PFAS contamination close by. I would prefer to see irrigation water, if have to be town water, just so I'm not furthering contamination, or drawing it, or some way impacting it, or dragging it onto the site from an adjacent property.
Or there could be,
Because I think some of your approvals from other boards are based on town water only for
Correct.
potable purposes. So, I hear the concern that you're raising, and I'm thinking how we get it into the correct jurisdictional
I
body.
mean, to Eric's point about if it's being used to water planting areas that are within the buffer to the commission's jurisdictional resource area of the commission.
Okay.
I mean, would a special condition requiring, I don't know, quarterly well sample?
They might have those types of conditions placed upon them through another board or board of health. I'm just saying that, right now, non-potable is gonna get pumped out of the ground, and I'm just concerned about, what impacts that might have.
Alert them to it.
Are we your last board for approval? So everybody else is already,
The
Well-
last approval, if you will, so we've been through planning board and we've received stormwater and site plan and special permit. Looking for the order of conditions this evening. There's obviously other permitting associated with construction. We still have to work through Board of Health with wastewater. So there's
So has
still other-
anybody else placed any type of condition that requires some sort of scheduled periodic groundwater monitoring for PFAS?
on
this
this
site.
private, on the site as a whole or on the private well?
I don't know, any condition. I'm sure it's not gonna be for potable, it would have to be for probably this well. I didn't know if there are other groundwater monitoring wells. I knew there was some when we were out there, and they were monitoring, hydraulic conditions, probably for, like you were saying, for the wastewater treatment facility. So I don't know what other testing had been done other than just for hydraulic characteristics.
I do not recall, I don't think there's anything in
Not
the
yet.
planning board decisions related to.
So ask for it.
Well, would this be, would this tie in, if somebody on the planning board had had the same thought that Eric had, would it have been jurisdictional for them?
I do, yeah.
Because they're requiring us to use irrigation,
Okay.
a well for irrigation.
And so
And
they
that
could
came
then
through the
say,
planning board process, correct.
and they could then stipulate,
It really falls under the Board of Health.
Okay.
Because the Board of Health controls the well.
okay, so basically,
We
water.
still have to pull well permits.
Okay, so testing of the groundwater, testing of what's coming out of your well, that all falls under the jurisdiction of the Board of Health.
Well, the water that they're gonna be pumping out of the ground, like you say, Matt, potentially could be going on areas that are in the care and custody of the Conscom
Well,
Or jurisdictional, yeah.
jurisdiction.
yeah, so into the irrigating the, some irrigation in the buffer
Then
zone.
we could put a requirement on it, that it did have an annual or a semi-annual.
Test.
Right,
Because we know that, that some of
and
that
have
water
it
is
kind
gonna-
of decrease if found to be
Because if we
non-detect.
found that was occurring, then we could say we didn't want that to be occurring on areas that, that were somehow under our jurisdiction.
Would you want it, is this the kind of thing that there would be a timeline? What Matt had been bringing up was an initial testing frequency, and then
Periodic,
if
and then
nothing
periodic.
adverse is found,
I don't know, I'd want it to be, I don't know what the state's requirement is, I don't know any of that.
okay,
I'm just saying, it seems, it'd be remiss if we didn't do something.
I agree.
okay. So,
We shouldn't be spreading it, we shouldn't be creating a problem that,
I
or
agree.
further allowing it
So
to
you-
expand onto this property.
I'm pulling up the exhibit plan from the commission's last meeting, and where's my cursor? And is there much, yeah, is there anticipated to be irrigation between, say, the multimodal path and the parking lot?
It would, and honestly, if you put this condition of testing, we would look to not do that. So, I mean, if the commission has that large of a concern of PFAS that hasn't been brought up to date, that we haven't
Only 'cause we
prepared to
haven't
answer, we would want to see the language of that condition before we.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And then we would kind of evaluate it, but likely the resolution would be, we're just not gonna irrigate areas within the buffer, because the manicured lawn, for the most part, is outside of it. And that's where the irrigation is gonna be located. So, I mean, I'm not saying that we wouldn't accept that condition, but we need to understand what it is, the testing that this commission would require, the financial cost, the time frame, how long it would be, if it would be in perpetuity, and then we would evaluate our options based on that. I don't think this is something that we could just
Yeah, we've gotten to the
accept
point where
this
we-
evening.
And where we've talked about revised language in several of the other conditions as well, does it make sense to continue, update the language in those other conditions? Does it make sense to also check in with the Board of Health as we figure out how to draft the condition that's relevant?
Yeah, we can certainly do that in the next couple days, and again, turn that around.
We can just continue this and, you know, address that and come back and do, you know.
November 12th?
And
I would like to go over the rest of it, though.
Okay.
It might be helpful too, I don't know. A circuit rider might be.
I can ask, I'm
S-
not
I don't know.
optimistic.
I don't know how
They haven't
helpful
been
that would be.
opining in our experience.
Okay. And there was something else you had wanted to,
Yeah, just if we could go through the rest of
Okay.
the order to make sure that there's no other additions, subtractions, and then the only item that we'll be discussing going forward is the language of a potential PFAS condition on irrigation.
okay.
61, 68.
Did I, question, well, sorry. Did anybody else have any questions on any other conditions? Okay, and, okay. So, with the changes that you and
Did they
Matt
have
had.
changes?
Huh?
Did they have other changes?
Yes, that was,
That was what we just went
Okay.
over.
that was where we started.
No, I know, you.
Okay. So, and November 12th,
November 12th, if we could get the language, the proposed language as quickly as possible, so we can circle it through our team and understand, you know, what that is and what our options are.
okay. Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to November 12th?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for your
Thank you very
time.
much.
Moving on to our 7:20 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for Malboth, 56 Lakeshore Drive South.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetland bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, at 7:20 PM in meeting room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of Ralph Melba for the replacement of a patio and retaining wall, and installation of a new walkway and retaining wall within 100 feet of Mavnasset Lake bank and bordering land subject to flooding at 56 Lakeshore Drive South, Assessors Map 73, Parcel 47, Lot 0.
Great, good evening, Ralph Malba, 56 Lakeshore Drive South. We are a fairly new build on the hillside, the high hill of Lake Nap, building about 8 years ago, completing in June 2017. I'm here tonight to respectfully ask for the board's approval to move forward with two hardscape projects. Both are at the top of the hill adjacent to the back of the house. Your handouts include a zoomed-in view of both the current and proposed views. Page 6 of my submission that was in the packet shows the entire lot and project area, and I've also brought a full-size version of the as-built plot plan if anybody would like to see the entire plot. The first project is to replace an existing 25-foot retaining wall that is 3 to 4 feet high and an existing paver patio that's approximately 17 by 15, extending the retaining wall out an additional 8 to 10 feet to the existing stairs in the middle of the property there. The original retaining wall is failing, which has also caused the patio to fail. The new retaining wall and patio system will be rebuilt using GeoGrid to address long-term stability. So that's the current patio in place. The wall's moved over the 8 years, probably I've fixed it a couple of times, it's moved like 6 to 8 inches
Wow.
towards hillside down towards the lake. So you can see the 4x4 they kind of had just to reinforce, just to make sure nothing catastrophic happened. It was kind of a crazy idea that the folks put these cannon holes into the wall. I think they were thinking it was going to help in draining, but it really didn't do anything with the draining, but it kind of weakened that center section. So that's the area is primarily failing. So we're looking at replacing all of that. The second is to install a new retaining wall, a shorter, approximately 2 to 3 feet high, to support a 4 to 5 foot walkway extending to an existing, we have an 8 by 11 paver patio that can be seen right there that's underneath the deck. There's a Trex deck that's on the back of the house, and that patio shown there is underneath it. The plan is for the retaining wall to be level with the walkway. The current pavers will be used to build that portion of the walkway and redo the paver patio that's under the existing deck. The new retaining wall and walkway will be approximately 40 feet in length, extending across the remaining part of the backyard property. The end of the walkway furthest from the patio should be level with the existing ground, with the retaining wall at that very end wrapping into the slope. The walkway will basically be level with the existing patio as it exists, the paver patio as it exists at that end of the yard. On rainwater, the area underneath the existing deck, the Trex deck, will remain gravel, so that'll all still be gravel. And as we found when we were building the house, the property, the soil on the property is basically sand. When they dug the house out, we basically had just piles and piles of beach sand stacked up in front of the house when they built it. No machinery will be used on the rear of the property. Erosion control during the project will be stakes and fabric. The project length is expected to be 2 to 2.5 weeks. Questions?
What is the EC, that jagged line?
Erosion control.
Oh, okay.
I think, and again, this was, I think, the extent of the erosion control
Yeah.
as was on the original
Yeah, it was the
development of the
original
house,
build.
and
Yeah.
he's re-proposing it in that location.
So you're not going to, I was going to say, you don't need to really install it all the way down to the lake.
No.
It's already there. So
Yeah, that's when we were building the stairs down to the
Okay.
lake, so yes.
Okay, good.
Well, but the erosion control along the stairs has been removed, right?
No.
Mostly,
No.
yes,
Most,
yes,
okay,
yes,
because you got your certificate of compliance,
yes.
and that requires the
Yeah.
erosion control to be
Yeah,
done.
yeah, it was because I used the plot plan from
Okay.
there, and it just made sense. You can see, I actually changed it, so I Xed through it. You see, I put little X's on that mark. It basically said that's the new erosion
Okay.
controls versus the prior erosion controls. New east, if you can see that last in the,
Oh, new
yeah, there you
EC.
go.
So he's taking out an old retaining wall. He's putting in a new retaining wall, extending his patio by, what, 8 feet? Is that what it is? Pushing it out?
Yes.
You're gonna be able to do all that without any machinery? You're gonna go in there and do it all by hand?
Correct.
I remember the site, it was steep to begin with, the pictures kind of show it that way.
It's like 30 feet, right?
And he's having difficulty with his, you've got a 4-foot elevated retaining wall, you said?
Yes, the retain, you can see there, so it's 4 feet, including that 18 inches that extends above the patio. That's inclusive of the 4 foot that's currently there.
Don't we usually require if it's 4 foot?
I think it's if it's above 4 feet.
Yeah, and that's why it was done that way. And
I just know he's having difficulty right now. He's talking about it all being sand. It's not built properly and faced right and done correctly, it's gonna end up down the hill. There's not much holding it back, so.
I had talked to Accurate Masonry in Tingsboro. I talked to him, he's looking at multiple geogrids that he's gonna lay in that to stabilize that patio this time around.
No, just as long as they do it, don't open it up, it seems like they'd need to put in that new retaining wall before they even started working about taking other stuff out.
So is the new retaining wall going to be in the same location as the old one, or?
It's bumped out 8 feet.
No.
No, you can see on the thing, you see
So
the
it's-
yellow?
yeah, so
That
it's-
yellow is the existing wall, we're just gonna extend it out.
And then extend
So
it towards
8 feet, so it's
the,
not going down the hill any further, it's staying in the same exact
So it just,
spot.
you're extending one end of it?
Yes, to basically seal that side of the property up so people don't.
yeah, so,
And that other end that's yellow is in the same location as the existing?
no, so
Yes,
this is
Yeah,
the,
so see
Yes.
that other one that's hatched on the other
Oh.
side?
yes, that's
Isn't
new.
that bumped out 8 feet from where the retaining wall?
There is
no,
no
that
retaining
is-
wall there.
That's 4
There's block
feet.
or something.
No, there's
it's-
nothing there, that's,
Okay.
that's basically just stone right now, that's, if you look there, that's that area
Okay.
right there. So there's nothing there, and that's what we're proposing to do, a 2 to 3 foot,
Right.
a short retaining wall with basically a walk.
And the sonotubes and all that stay?
Yes,
So,
Yes.
so in these pictures, where's the click,
Yeah.
can you show us where in these
Little red.
pictures that new retaining wall is going to be?
the new retaining, do you see the red?
Yeah,
That's where it's gonna be.
Okay.
It's gonna be straight down that line, about 4 feet from the sonnet tubes, like 4 feet out from the sonnet tube. So it's gonna be just there. And the stone on the left of the sonnet tubes is gonna stay there.
so is the red the outside or the inside of the retaining wall?
It's the outside of the retaining wall.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so the retaining wall will be on this side of the red line, and
Yes.
then you'll have the walkway next to it?
Yes, that's why I said 4 to 5 feet.
So to
because-
remove the stone and put like paver or something where that stone is?
Yes,
After
Okay.
the retaining wall is built?
yes.
That's this area.
Right
So
there.
this is the, kind
That's
of
the
the
new
red
wall.
line as shown
Right.
on the,
That's the red line.
And then
all the blue
interior-
is gonna be like paver.
Pavers, yes. And then they're gonna tie in with that patio that's underneath, the paver patio that's underneath the.
And that wall's gonna need some kind of, I don't know, mini foundation, right? Because,
It is, but it's gonna be relatively small, like 2 or 3 feet, just to get the grade level up so that the sidewalk will hold. But I will actually talk to him about using geogrid there. I'm not opposed to it. If it would hold, a better.
because it's on a steep slope.
Exactly, yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
That's about, it's about 30 feet
Yeah, it's 30 to 40 feet all the way
to
down.
the, yeah.
Oh, what, down the
The
hill?
lake, yeah.
To the lake, 80 feet.
80 feet, I see.
no,
216.
in vertical feet.
Yeah, vertical feet.
Oh,
218 down to about 170.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 172, yeah, whatever,
It's steep.
Yeah.
yeah, 40 feet.
So you probably are losing land right now, right? Erosion.
It really, it's how you can see by that's the original. We haven't touched the top of that hill.
Yeah.
It's all held pretty well.
Okay.
And it's outside the commission's no-build buffer, again, in terms of where the existing retaining wall is at approximately 61 feet. Again, that's pretty
I'm
consistent.
fine with it. It's just a matter of making sure that,
Safe.
they do it properly or else it's gonna,
61 feet measured from. I can see it's from the existing retaining. the new
Yeah,
wall
and down to the
away.
dashed line. The dash line's the edge of the.
The high water line?
Down to where?
Is that this?
It may actually be the bordering land subject to
That's what I'm
flooding.
trying to figure out what they measured from.
Yeah, floodplain. And that was the old floodplain that's been updated, so it's probably, again, you're gaining another,
How can you tell it's a floodplain?
because it says 100-year floodplain elevation, 171.5. Again,
Where is this?
I'm looking at.
This is on the larger
Oh,
scale.
he's got the one on page 6 of the packet.
Yeah, the
It's
full
not-
plan.
It's not there.
Again, in the commission's meeting.
And I'd give you a copy of it, but the copy I made is so small that you can.
Actually, no,
read it
the
better.
61 feet's to, to,
What's that line with the double dots?
that's
Edge of
the
water.
edge of water, yeah.
All right, good enough.
Okay.
At least I know where it's from, thank you.
And you will be bringing materials around the side of the house, I guess?
Yes, yeah.
No concerns about steepness and all that?
No, we actually have, the guy who's doing it has been doing a ton of work down the street. He's Very,
Okay.
very capable and understands the challenge.
Do you have any-
My only comment would be if the commission is entertaining a negative determination of applicability, that the erosion controls be installed, or be inspected prior to the commencement of work.
Good idea.
Well, that'd still make it a conditional negative.
Right, no, it's, you know,
Yeah.
if,
It's
you know,
another set of
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
you know, just, and again,
Another set of eyes.
there's still comments from the public, but
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
give my 2 cents.
Okay.
do any members of the audience have any comments or questions on this project? So can I have a motion for a conditional negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Quick
Yeah,
question,
sure.
just timing. I know when we were building, is there certain times that this can be done?
There's
certain times
a-
it can't be done?
December 1st, April 1st.
Yeah, well, if the commission wants to impose that as a condition, again, it's not a order of conditions, so we don't have.
No,
kind of- I mean, if you, want, I mean, I can include the language in that if, you know, they're going to.
If I could request
So,
flexibility. on that.
okay, so is there a time when you're thinking of doing this?
I think he's ready to go.
So, okay, so has he given you
But-
an indication of how long it would take?
2 to 2.5 weeks.
If-
But again, I just told, he knows I'm here tonight, and that's basically,
So if any of the work in the buffer zone needed to happen between December 1st and April 1st, we would need a written request from you.
Would the commission
Well-
entertain it being between December 15th so that they have through the beginning,
Sure.
you know, the first,
Might as well.
Sure.
through the first commission's meeting, and then, you know, we can, you know, so he's not back in 2 weeks asking for, you know,
Yeah.
looking out 3
Yeah, I'm
weeks.
okay with that.
So what we'll add is, we'll add a condition that says, if you need to do work between December 15th and April 1st, you need to come back with a written request explaining what the work is, et cetera. Okay. So that's going to be added to the conditions.
Okay.
So we've already voted,
Motion for a conditional negative
we already did.
Yeah.
So that's just,
Just another condition.
we just got to, we
Thank you.
just added another
we're good?
condition.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on to our 7:25 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for 11 Fletcher Road.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, at 7:25 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street. Consider the request for determination of applicability application of Robert and Barbara Rolfs for the abandonment of an existing failed septic system and installation of a new septic tank, pump chamber, and leaching field within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands and 200 feet of Cold Spring Brook at 11 Fletcher Road, Assessors Map 31, Parcel 117, Lot 0.
Good evening, I'm Kirk Fitzpatrick with Civil Solutions, and I'm here on behalf of the Rolfs for their property at 11 Fletcher Road. Basically, what we had proposed before you is a septic upgrade for the existing 4-bedroom house. The house is being sold, and the existing system failed a Title V inspection. Currently,
The red one.
the red one?
Yeah.
Sorry. Currently, the tank is just off the edge of the deck here, and then there's an 18 by 50-foot leach field that runs through the middle of the backyard. The bordering vegetated wetland was delineated by Matt Morrow, and it basically makes a U shape around almost the entire property. And then the top of the bank for Cold Spring Brook is over in the wetlands on the side of the property. So we conducted some soils testing in the rear yard. The front yard, the utilities come in the front, and then there's two actually very large outcroppings of ledge in this area here, and then another one here. And there's also an outcropping of ledge off the back corner of the garage. So it's kind of a very limited area that's suitable to try to site a system. So we did multiple test holes. We actually hit the system, old system, a couple times. But we were able to find some soil, and we ran a percolation test. We had a seasonal high water table of 36 inches, so the system will be elevated just slightly.
Can you talk into the mic?
Just talk about it.
Mike
Just talk
doesn't
about
do
it.
anything.
Yeah, just talk
So
about
much
it.
for that.
So what we're proposing is to come out to a new 1,500-gallon two-compartment septic tank that's going to flow to a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, to a proposed leach field composed of the Presby EnviroSeptic, which provides some enhanced treatment and also allows us to reduce the groundwater offset by 2 feet and makes it blended into the backyard. So with that being said, the existing grade in this area around the system is going to be elevated about 1 foot to 1.5 feet. So there's a minimal amount of fill on the downhill edge associated with the system. We have proposed erosion control around the perimeter of the system that's going to wrap into the shed and then back up to this stone area around the back of the house. The access for the construction is going to come off of Fletcher Road on the left side of the house. And all the material that they excavate out, because they're going to have to remove the existing system, all that excavated material will be removed from site. This plan has been approved by the Westford Board of Health, and I'm happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Question. So is it two-chamber because the second chamber is used as a pump chambers, pumps up to the D box? And is that why it's a two-chamber system? Because the first chamber is like a 1,500-gallon, then it drops into a 1,000-gallon tank that has a pump in it that pumps it into the D box. So I didn't know if that was like a standard design.
The two-compartment septic tank is actually a standard requirement of the Westford Board of Health now. It provides more settling time for the liquid because it's got to go through both chambers.
So
We
typically
use it
from now on,
consistently.
we're going to see this type where it's going to be like a 1,500-gallon
Two-compartment tank.
primary and then another 1,000-gallon.
Well, the pump chambers because of grades.
Right, because it looks like it's pumping up.
Right, exactly.
To the D
So-
box.
So
Correct.
if the
But if you
grade-
didn't have that, you just have a one-chamber 1,500
No, you would still have
with gravity fed to a D box.
but the requirement now is that you have to have a 1,500-gallon two-compartment septic tank. So you'd have the septic tank with two compartments no matter what, and then the pump chamber afterwards is 1,000 gallons because it's got storage capacity in case the power goes out.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions? Matt?
It's based on the site conditions, again, showed the photos as provided by the applicant's representative, shows the ledge outcroppings in the front yard. Again, certainly constricting the suitable area on site. Again, the proposed, if the commission finds it's the maximum feasible compliance for the
Seems to be, so, yeah.
If you want to make the distinction.
Are there any comments or questions from members of the audience?
I would just recommend the commission consider a special condition to inspect the erosion controls prior to commencement of work.
So moved.
Can I have a motion to issue a conditional negative determination?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Moving on to our 7:30 PM agenda item is a minor modification request for Orchard Church, 130 Littleton Road.
So good evening, I'm Manny Gasper, I'm a member and volunteer at Orchard Church, and so just here to seek approval from the commission to build 2 fire pits on the property. There's, the next few pages illustrate where that is, but there, so that's just the overview, the plot of the property and the 2 areas. So the first area, maybe if we go to the next page. Yeah, so the first one is just outside of that pond area. It's 12 feet out from the maintained grass mowing area for the meadow management plan. And then the second one, and you can see there's a photo on the right, so it's in regularly maintained property. And then the second fire pit is on the east side of the building, 45 feet away from that picture on the lower right, back from there, just about where that chair is. Also located in regularly maintained mowing area. That's just, yeah, so just a quick design of what is intended to be, put in there. So I have actually tied out with the fire prevention, officer at the fire department, just to make sure that, just from size-wise and code, that is all compliant, and I've been assured that that is. So any questions?
Okay, I did have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Will the fire pits be used seasonally or year-round?
Likely seasonally, and then so likely seasonally.
What will be done with the chairs during the off-season?
So the likely will be just maintained there because they're heavy wooden, so they're not plastic Adirondack chairs. So we've had similar chairs on the property previously, like that one. So it'll be something like that, and haven't had any concerns as far. We do have a shed on the property that if there was inclement, like major wind, weather, or storm,
I'm
that...
thinking blizzards, I'm thinking
Yes,
hurricanes.
yeah, so
you know,
something
we don't-
like that, we have a means of storing it.
Okay. Will people also be able to bring their own temporary seating to these fire pit locations?
Yeah, there'll be maybe a larger group, so there'll be temporary seating, so obviously they'll bring it in and take it with them.
Okay. Where will the wood be sourced from and where will it be stored?
We'll use wood from the property, not from wetlands property, but from, let's say, branches or trees that have fallen and that we're able to cut up. So that's the intent, is to use it from within the property. If we feel we need more, then we just go to a reliable source.
And what I'm thinking about is, if people have traveled to other New England states, is because of eggs and larvae of insects, invasive insects being transported, we would be very concerned if you're bringing firewood from elsewhere and it's in proximity to the wetlands or the buffer zone. Just in terms of introducing invasive insects.
Okay, I see, yeah, the intent would be, we've got ample trees to work
Okay.
from for our own firewood, yes.
Okay, and then my last question had been, I'm presuming that people will be eating and drinking while they're sitting here. What is the plan for making sure that any beverage and food containers are removed at the end of,
We'll locate trash bins
okay,
at both fire pits that we actually already have on the property, so they'll be just relocated to those areas.
okay. No?
So the fire prevention officer, did he tell you the times we can or cannot use?
He did, he provided the phone number that's needed, so that when there is a fire pit planned that evening, that number is to be called, et cetera. Uh-huh.
That's good. Okay. Matt, did you have anything?
No.
Are there any comments or questions on this request from members of the audience? in terms of approving the minor modification request.
Make a motion to approve the minor modification request as presented tonight.
Okay,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
The wetland scientist for the property has also requested, kind of as shown on the meadow management plan, there are temporary conservation posts, or removable conservation posts, kind of at the outer extent of the managed mowing areas, and then also permanent posts at the edge of the wetland, or the wet meadow in this area. They're still kind of formulating a design, but wanted to request the commission delegate authorization to approve to either myself or the chair, just so that, you know, as they're looking to move forward with this in the next couple of weeks, but before the commission's next meeting, have some review of it. Again, there wasn't really anything specific shown as a detail in the approved plan set, but if the commission is amenable to delegating, again, myself or the chair, to kind of review as to what's consistent with, again, kind of that
You mean
typical.
what's on the sign
Or,
and
or,
where
or
it's
kind of the
located?
construction, the construction, and again, some of the, where they're being proposed as removable, they're kind of debating whether it's in a PVC sleeve or some kind of foam, again.
I
There's-
don't think we need the specifics, I think you could handle that.
Okay,
If there
that-
were gonna be deviations to locations or alterations.
Okay.
That would probably be
Nope.
something that should come before the commission.
Great, if that's
Great, thank
amenable
you.
with the commission, I can certainly handle it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our 7:35 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for 287 Groton Road.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetland bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, at 7:35 PM in meeting room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street. Consider the request for determination of applicability application of Godam Chenoy for the installation of a 10 by 16-foot shed within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands and an intermittent stream at 287 Groton Road, Assessors Map 41, Parcel 110, Lot 0.
Hi, my name is Gautam. I live at 287 Groton Road. The house was built in 1984, and we moved there into 2023. So, I plan to propose a 10 by 16 shed on the property. The way the property's landscape is, unfortunately, there's only sort of one place I can put it. There was another place where I initially thought I could put it, but turns out that's the leach field for the septic system, so that's ruled out. This is the shed. The way it's currently planned would be about 75 feet from the stream, by a rough estimate. It's going to be on a crushed stone base. The picture here shows, like, the yellow shows where the shed would be, so there's no trees that are going to be cut down. It's just sort of, right now there's like weeds and it's soft ground, so there's no hardscaping other than, you know, laying the base that's really necessary. So yeah, and I plan to store like snow blowers and lawn mowers, gardening tools, kayaks that I hope to buy because I live across from Long Southford Pond, and bicycles, and yeah, basically.
What's his closest point?
All right, I don't know, you've been there, Matt?
Yeah, and so again, this is the property next to the state parking on the south side of Long Southford Pond. Again, there's an intermittent stream that's shown as connecting, flowing underneath towards the pond. This is at the top of the hill. It's approximately, I think, 20 to 25 feet above grade. Again, this is, you know, a house that was constructed prior to the town's adoption of the local wetland bylaw and the rules and regulations, and it's about
So it's
75.
across the street.
Well,
No.
no, it's
Or
the dashed
side,
line.
or-
It's adjacent to. The property is adjacent to the state's thin little parcel there. The dashed line is what I imagine was a drainage easement to protect future development of the.
Oh, I know where he is now.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I get where he is now.
and so again, it's
He's up on the hill there.
yeah, and
Yeah.
again, it's approximately 75 feet from where he's proposing. You know, kind of that edge of.
Where is the stream again? On the-
It's down. It's this kind of in this dashed.
It's between the
Yeah,
dashes.
that's
Yeah,
the,
or
that's the
approximate.
joint parking area that people use to walk.
Yeah, I mean, again, the parking area probably is more concerning to the,
Yeah.
and it probably has greater impacts to this intermittent stream than this proposed shed. If the commission is amenable, I would recommend condition, you know, prohibiting the storage of pesticides, you know,
Yeah.
volumes, you know, significant volumes of.
The typical.
volumes
But
of-
other than that, this looks fine.
Yep.
Me too.
Okay. So can I have a motion to issue?
Public.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Are there any comments or questions from members of the audience? Okay. Can I have a conditional negative determination, a motion for conditional negative determination?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So so Matt will be in touch with the paperwork.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to our 7:45 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for 15 Island Path Road.
Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetland bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 29th, 2025, at 7:45 p.m. The meeting in 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the notice of intent application of George and Margaret Melanakis for the replacement of a boulder/rock retaining wall along the Abnasset Lake and bank, and within 100 feet of bordering land subject to flooding and land underwater bodies, 15 Island Path Road, Assessors Map 74, Parcel 23, Lot 0.
Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, I'm Dan Doherty, here for the Melanakises. Mrs. Melanakis happens to be my sister, so that's why I'm here. This is essentially the house that I grew up in. So, we have a wall that was built years ago. We actually had a permit. It was actually done in 1992. And it was approved by none other than this Conservation Commission. I don't know if you were on it then.
No, I wasn't. I started in '94, so. it was
I don't know if
before
anybody was on it that's here now. But Tom Paul was one of the guys on it.
Yeah, I remember Tom.
Okay, so Tom actually came up with the plan, which, in '92, which was really just doing flat rock and kind of dry setting it. He didn't want us to do a poured wall, he didn't want us to do concrete, but what's happened over the years is, it's 32 years or whatever now, it's fallen down again, so we're here basically going to redo it. We're doing it in a similar fashion, but the only difference now is, we're going to be, where am I? How do I turn this thing on?
There's a little red button.
I thought that was it.
Yeah, don't look
Am
at
I
it.
doing it the wrong way?
No, you're doing it right. It was on the screen.
It was on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
One's
just
in Jim
kinda-
now.
There you go.
Okay, here I am. So, basically, instead of doing where we had flat rock before, we're gonna use larger stones, something that the waves in the winter, this is, if you look at this property, this is completely, it's the point right across from Lakeside Meadows. So the constant flow comes right at this property, straight at it. So every wave that comes down is just busting it apart, and then the cold wet time.
Jim?
I'm very confused about this diagram and how it relates to the plot plan. Where it fits, what view we're looking at here, I just don't understand.
Want to go back to the plot plan?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a side view of the system we're gonna build. This whole perimeter from here, in a little bit there, and there, that's all broken down. That was the wall that was built basically 32 years ago.
photographs that you submitted also?
Yeah, you got photographs, you should have
I
it.
don't have them here, we have them electronically, but I saw them.
Okay.
That's the whole perimeter.
Well, it actually goes around into a little lagoon on this side here. But we're not proposing to do anything on this side. That side's held up fairly well, so it doesn't get hit with the waves, it's all protected, so. Essentially, it's from the point down, this area here, there are, this area here doesn't have to be touched at all. So it's really just what gets hit straight in, because it's very shallow right here, so it doesn't really get hit with a lot. There's a set of steps that go down right here that's not really showing that, but at any rate, the only difference is if we go back to that other plan, if you could, that's where the large, if we can go back and forth, the large stones, if you can go back again, the plan is to put the larger stones at the base from all of this here.
So is that other diagram a cross-section of what you want to build?
Yes, that's like a
That's what
like
the
a
other
side
one
view,
is.
like a side view, so you can see exactly what it's gonna be. So, but additionally, what we propose to do is, do in the same fashion, the bigger stones. We've done this twice before on the lake, with at 73, the house we built for Moon Kai, I don't know if you remember that.
73 and more.
73 and more. And this is how it came out. We terraced it, and it's holding up fantastic, because if you use the larger stones as the base, they don't move. We were able to put some material down here, like fabric material, put some trap rock behind it, then fill on top of it, plenty of filtration. You don't have to worry about anything, and then you finish off the top with the flat rocks that already exist there. So it's really just, we're replacing the base more than anything. There's actually a base in there that we're actually going on top with the bigger stones. The first layer, if you will be larger stones. And basically, those should be anywhere probably 2 feet by 36 on average, but the bigger, rounder stone. Similar to what we did, like I say, we also did it for
62.
Rob Walter.
62 Lakeshore
Yeah,
Drive South,
52
I think.
Lakeshore. So there's been 2 systems done this fashion on Nab Lake already, so that's basically what we're looking to do. We also have to create a new plan from the DEP has requested that they want to see more of the actual plot plan. They didn't really like a plan from 1992, I guess, so we have to give them more detailed. So I've hired Jeff Hannaford from Norse Services, and he is creating that plan. He won't have it for another week or so before we can get out there. This was just done, as you can look at the date, we just got this back. So consequently, he hasn't had a chance to go out there to do that. So we're really going to be looking for a continuance on this particular project right now, so. But if there's any questions on how to build it or anything you want put on that plan, it would be helpful at this moment, I guess, to request that.
Matt, can you take it? Oh, no?
I had a question, are you gonna be using much machinery, or what kind of machinery?
Just to place the first stones, we would, yes.
Like a bobcat or something?
It'd be like a mini excavator and a bobcat.
Okay.
From the land side or from doing it during the drawdown from the shore side?
Well, everything's got to be done from the land side. Can't go in the water.
Okay,
We'd get stuck if you did that.
Matt, can you go back to the plot plan? If you're going to be having heavy equipment bringing the boulders in, where's the septic?
The septic is right here.
Okay. Yeah, because I think we would want to see the septic system and the leach field on it to make sure that where you're going is not going to, if you're bringing heavy equipment in, that it's not going over those items?
Well, the system has, there's parking on it now.
Okay.
It's all H20 materials in there, so it's,
Now, that's,
yeah. But even on top of that, what we typically do in a situation like this is we would run the steel plates all
Okay.
on the property and on both sides, whatever side we did.
so you'd have steel plates on the ground to where you're.
Yeah, we're not gonna do, trust
Okay.
me, it's my sister's house, we're not gonna damage the septic system on it.
Okay.
Well,
On either side of the beach area, how are you gonna what I would like to see, or what I would want to see on that proposed plan is how that side view is going to tie into this beach area where all of a sudden none of the, you know, you're talking about either side of the beach area, you're putting.
There's no beach. This, first of all, there's water right up to this wall.
Okay.
At this point here, there's like 4
So
inches.
Okay, so that's
So then
just,
the gradually goes out, and then it's, at this point here, it's probably like 3.5
so that's,
feet.
where it says beach, that's actually underwater?
That's underwater, yeah.
Okay. And, okay, so you come from the house into the water? So
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
at no point would there be stairs or whatever in this,
No, the stairs already exist right here. We
Okay,
don't have to do,
but-
we just have to do this corner here
okay,
to there, and from this corner here to there.
okay.
There's a
And,
concrete wall, the next door neighbor that butts right to it.
okay. With, going back to the side view,
Oh, if you go back to that picture
Okay.
real quick. This gives you see, that's where that's the stairs to go down to the lake.
okay,
But, and if you look at that, from that jets out a little, like, I don't know. The new plan will have that actual dimension, but if you look at the wall, this is all like broken up. But if you look right here in that thing, there is a base that's broken up that we can put the larger stones right on top of. You can actually see it better in this one,
okay.
so.
With the side view, it looks like right at the water's edge, the elevation is going to be increasing 2 to 3 feet. Where today, when there's heavy rain, water flows down to the lake, what's going to happen once you have the boulders in place and everything
Well,
behind it?
the whole reason for doing it is the erosion that's happening now. We want to take care of it. It's been, probably eroding now for the last decade. It just hasn't been addressed because of the cost factor, so, but you're asking me what's gonna,
If there's a heavy rain, so it's landing around the house, and today it would sheet flow overland to the pond, to the lake, where is that water going to go when?
well, that's the whole point for doing it, because we're gonna have all this drainage in here with the
So
fabric.
so you're saying that,
We're gonna create the filtration, just like we did on those other 2 properties. That's,
so you're relying on rainwater to be able to infiltrate into the ground and then go through what's in the geogrid map and somehow get to the lake, or it's going to go directly into the ground?
it should go directly into the ground.
Okay, so there will be no more overland sheet flow?
No.
Okay. Matt, do you have any more?
Again, outside of DEP's comments, and again, Sierra had some comments as well. Again, I imagine they'll get picked up by the plot plan, again, what the floodplain is, where the 100-year floodplain is, and
We'll give Sierra's and DEP's comments to Jeff Hanover, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's why he's developing the plan. Believe it or not, I got it approved with this plan similar to this 33 years ago. It wasn't a problem then, but it's different now, so.
Are there any comments or questions from members of the audience?
I will point out that the fee was $45 netto.
My house cost $25,000.
What's that?
My house in Westford cost $25,000.
Don't say that out loud.
57 years ago.
Okay. So has Jeff given you a date when he would have the plan available?
He expects that it'll be out there sometime next week, so.
I mean, if we receive it by, midday Thursday, so we can include it in the meeting packet, I'd recommend continuing the public hearing to the meeting on November 12th. If, we don't receive.
Subsequent
Yeah.
meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to November 12th?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay.
Thank you very
See
much.
you on the 12th.
Okay, thank you. I'm staying here for the next one now, too.
Okay. So moving on to our 7:55 PM agenda item, it's a request to replace stairs and retaining wall at the Method Improvement Association, North Beach.
So included in the commission's meetings packet was photos from Mr. Kanata. Again, kind of showing the, oh, great, there you go, thank you. Showing the existing conditions starting at Lakeshore Drive North, that existing fence and proposed potential parking area. Continuing on.
Just looking for that.
Continue on down towards the lake, again, you can start to see some of the channelization of the existing sand area. Then looking back up from the one existing timber retaining wall, again, the channelization on the down stair side. Here we go. Oh, and even further closer to the water's edge. Another one? Nope. Same as before. Photos of degradation of it? Yes?
Yes.
What's
Yeah,
that?
I was like,
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
like,
the rod at the top.
yeah, okay. Trying to, with, and again, showing kind of the existing grade overland flow, kind of circumventing the retaining wall. If you want to walk through what was provided.
Well, apologize for the crude drawing, but I just did that. We had a site meeting yesterday. Ann is the only one who showed up.
I failed
So,
to confirm
anyway,
with the commission that this was happening.
But we did,
That's
I did go over everything with Mike and Ann at the property. So I did that drawing in the hopes that we could explain. Basically, the only difference is we're replacing these timbers with an ideal concrete block wall system. It's going to allow us to put some drainage behind it. We're going to actually pitch behind these walls when we put the wall system in. The drawing that Mike submitted before is what basically I went off of this and added these comments that you have before you that I just gave you. If you look at the very last page of what I have, it gives you a side profile of the wall system itself. So you can kind of see what that entails. And that's right out of the book. But essentially, where that system is, the timbers will be removed. A new wall system will be put in place. The stairs will be put in. But we're going to actually do this project. We will do work our way down. We'll start at the beach, kind of grade ourselves and kind of work ourselves back up. The first thing we do is remove that so we can get down to this point. See where the tree is there? That we're going to do the same kind of thing. We're going to put right back to that system right around there. We're going to create like a real drainage pit, if you will, out of just a couple of the boulders, like 5 or 6 boulders to go in there, and then start the wall system to go straight across with the stairs in it. But that stone system right there can be all around the tree. We'll be able to put like crushed stone and everything and kind of grade everything to go to that point so it doesn't just go straight down the middle. So there'll be a place for that to dump on that upper level to go down and kind of cut the grade down dramatically so you don't get the washout that you have, because it is a pretty steep hill when you're walking it. There's constant grades that you can see by the fencing how steep it can be. It's not terribly steep, but it only happens when there's a washout, when there's an event, a heavy rainstorm. But
Steps.
the thing with the system that we're going to put in, a foot of it, blocks get buried in there into the ground, so it really can't go through anymore. It's got to go around it. So there's a perforated pipe that goes behind that system that's going to go right to this point here and basically feed that area. When we're all done, all you're going to see on the top of that is the stone. There'll be some, it'll mostly be like if you will, liken it to like a leach field itself, which would have its own crushed stone area for retention, and everything should drop down and not actually go through anything, because we'll have the boulders there. We'll use fabric, filtration fabric, so nothing seeps through it, other than the water. It has to drop down. So, and the drainage is fine there because it's all beach sand, just like Mr. Mulberg had said earlier, that's all around Nab. You can't get a pebble bigger than 4 inches. Everything is sand, so it'll filter nice. It just have to change the grading to allow that to happen. That's all. So we're going to do the wall systems out of the ideal block, where the lower one's only going to have like 2 steps in it, 2 maybe 3, but the upper one's probably going to have 4, and it's all going to be capped and changed the different grading. So we're going to have from the water's edge, we're going to be coming in 25 feet. Putting that first system to terrace it a little bit, and then we're gonna go back to that, put the second system in and terrace it once again. Then when we get to the top of the whole back portion of the lot is gonna be just basically maintained as it is, and we're only gonna clean up the very top. If you look from the street side, there's an area to be, the fencing is to be moved. Right now, there's a gate right at the edge of the street. Does that have a plan? Do you have it shown that?
There.
Yeah, that's right on the edge of the street. Basically, what we're looking to do is take this and move that in like 20 feet, 25 feet, so we can have 2 parking spots for people, so they're not parking on the street all the time. Because parking on the street can get tough, and they're hoping that people will actually wind up using the beach more once it's more inviting. So that's the plan. And happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Eric?
I'm fine with everything that's being proposed. My question is, don't we have to do this under a request for determination?
So as the NIA came before the commission a couple years ago for their kind of annual maintenance plan, identified in that was the replacement of the potential replacement of the existing stairs and retaining wall. And so,
I get what you're saying. I just, if I was in a butter, I'd want to know what was going on. They're proposing to put some, like a detention feature almost for stormwater as it goes through, and I understand all of that. It all sounded fine, putting it around that bigger tree and building it out and letting it drain more slowly instead of coming down in the middle. Again, I just think if, I was either one of those homeowners or on either side, I might have wanted to have notification.
Mm-hmm. Have you had communication with the abutting properties?
No, my question would be, have you? No.
So I'm Mike Canada, I'm the president of the NIA. So one of the board members was directly across the street. He has discussed some of this plan with the neighbors. I don't think the neighbors they're generally aware of what is going on. I don't know some of the specifics like Eric mentioned.
I mean, they want to move the fence in, they want to put in parking, they want to do stuff. If I was a neighbor or in a butter, I'd want to know.
Well, and I guess maybe one of the options is a letter with a narrative that describes the changes you're going to be doing, provided to the abutters, that they have to give them that information, give them an ability to ask questions.
Right.
Well, the only thing I'd answer to that is, no matter what, we're lower on both sides than the neighbors.
Oh, I have no problem with what you're
Yeah,
proposing.
we're not dumping.
I'm just thinking, how do I not,
No surprise.
notify
Let
a
us know
neighbor?
before the equipment shows up.
Yeah, no surprise.
Well, I'm guessing some. All
It's a
right.
courtesy.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a mod, it's not a minor mod, it's not any, it is a
It's gonna look
request for
visually
determination,
very different.
And we give them a conditional negative, but as part of that, we have a butter notification.
Jim?
Are the levels between the ideal block walls going to be, the terraces, are they going to be level or relatively flat?
Yeah, we're trying to,
Between,
yeah.
Between them, that's-
Yeah.
Between.
otherwise you're just going to be having
Yeah,
more drainage.
we're trying to get it so there's no
So
washout.
between the lake and the first one, it's going to be relatively flat?
Yeah.
Between the first one and the second one, it is going to be flat? The second one and the fence, likewise, flat?
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty steep on the site, and so the additional tier there, I think, will help level it out or make it easily,
So we're
more
getting an
easily
extra-
accessible. for
You're saying
people.
we're getting an extra, so where today there is.
There's
this-
one retaining wall.
There's that retaining wall up there, there's nothing, and then it's straight down to the water?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and now there's gonna be an additional retaining
Yeah, so there's gonna be
wall,
an
right.
additional.
And
Well,
they'll be of such height that the terraces between them will be low.
Right,
Right.
they're
Well,
much,
Part of it was, there was another one
Yeah.
down here before, and that was removed because it was rotted.
Okay.
And that nothing was, it was just removed, and that's what's, everything is kind of just flattened itself out.
Okay. In terms of this large, oh, Jim, you've got more question? Okay, so, can you show me roughly where on the ground that new retaining wall will be?
Yeah, it's gonna be, probably
Right
20
in that
feet,
area.
yeah. Actually, you can see it by the fence, see how
Yeah.
the fence steps up?
Okay.
Right there, that's exactly where it
And
was.
basically
So-
right in front of the tree.
Where we're going, so the crushed stone and filter fabric that's going to be placed there,
Yeah.
is that going to be placed on top of the existing ground, or you're going to dig down to install it?
No, the only thing we'd be doing is just kind of getting a level, yeah, it's gonna be at the same grade as,
Okay.
I think he has to
We're not
set
gonna
the
bury-
first block in a little bit, so he has to dig it in to set the
Exactly.
first
But
one.
I'm not so much, I'm fine with the wall. What has got me thinking is if you've got this, where you're going to have the, for lack of a better word, a detention pond between that tree and the boulders, is with all that water that's now going to be channeled there and infiltrating, are you going to undermine the root system for that tree?
no, if anything, it's gonna enhance it, because basically, it's gonna be outside of that, and the stone is actually, it's gonna run mostly past that.
No,
But I know what you're saying, but
Is-
it's gonna go into the ground.
right, but is
Yeah.
it's, so where, looking at your plan here, where it talks about, I'm seeing, so those wavy lines are where the water is flowing?
Yes, exactly, so it's in front
So,
of it.
so it's gonna flow in there and then it's gonna settle and infiltrate?
Yeah,
And my concern is all of a sudden we have a large volume of water that's infiltrating in one location where it doesn't infiltrate today. What is the impact going to be on those trees?
that's the surface stuff, the whole wall system, all the way across, is gonna have crushed stone behind it. So that whole.
So you're not, I guess what's not clear to me is how much water is going to end up in this infiltrating here.
Well, we're basically trying to take the surface,
I'm just thinking, if there's a volume of water infiltrating around the roots of the tree, are we going to have some,
I know what you're saying.
I just.
I don't know if that's gonna be the case, because Dan's saying I've got gravel going all the way across that water's gonna infiltrate into. It's kinda cleaning it up as it goes down forward. Although earlier in
No,
the
it's gonna go to-
presentation, he was talking about it being more over to the side where the tree is.
yeah, well, and that's what he's saying is.
The stair, if this is the stair will
Yeah.
come down here, that's where that wall will be, that wall will be
Right,
there.
so-
So this whole thing, it's gonna take the surface runoff, it's not gonna.
No, but where's the
If you
water?
look at picture 216, I think 216 shows where it kind of starts.
Okay,
Up here. That's where it's starting.
So right now, exactly it's gonna be better than what's there now, let's put it that way. Because right now, at this point here, we're gonna go out further with those boulders. In front of that, there's a tree.
so that's the same tree.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
So if we go out further with the boulders, that's gonna give more area for this. Right now, everything's channeling straight down here. Behind this whole new wall system is gonna be stone as well.
So, okay, so because of what you're doing up here, there's not going, the water that's going down there now is not going to make it down to the tree, once you've built this new wall.
No, it's gonna be graded pretty evenly, but this is basically with any surface water here for the top 6 inches or whatever, that's gonna go to here. We're gonna try to get it so there's no washout. There's not gonna be no washout in the bottom, there's gonna be stone. This thing's gonna, basically, there's gonna be so much retention behind there.
I'm just,
She's worried
because,
about it being undermined.
because what I haven't, what's not clear is how much the volume of water that's going to make it into the pond where the water's going to infiltrate through the tree roots into the ground.
This is really just for rain events. In a lot like this is only the surface. This whole lot absorbs the water, the rainwater like crazy. When it just finds a small vein, that's when it's dropping.
Okay.
If I block that off right there, this wouldn't create a puddle. It's all gonna drop down.
So,
It's all sand and gravel.
okay,
It's beach sand, it's like.
okay. It just, because a lot of times when we hear about infiltration, the engineers are telling us roughly how much water is going to go. And so that's where my brain is going, that says how much water is going to end up being in this low area next to the tree to infiltrate in. And you're saying it will be a very small amount.
Exactly. There's not gonna
Okay.
be anything, nothing that will be any
Okay.
concern.
Okay. My question.
Okay. My one kind of similar question, just to be very careful and not damage the tree roots when, doing whatever in this location. We don't want to be damaging root, in excavating and getting, putting in the crusher. No, right. But just to, we don't want, we don't want to be ripping out,
Proactive.
be very gentle.
Proactive.
Okay.
Okay.
Good?
Any comments or questions from members of the audience? Okay.
Thank you for the site visit and explaining it there, and thank you very much for doing the drawings. It makes it much easier to see and understand.
I was hoping to do a more fancier one for you, but you didn't have the time.
This helped a lot.
I wanted some input.
Yes.
Thought I was gonna get it yesterday from my master.
Okay.
No, you did a good job. Thank you.
So, next steps. Do we want them to send any, in terms, normally abutters would be notified that we're having this conversation here, so they could come, they could listen to our questions, your answers, they could ask their own questions. They haven't been given that opportunity.
Well, I know everybody knows it.
Yeah, I mean, both abutters, to put a boat in on Nab Lake, you have to go through the NIA. So both abutters are members of the NIA. We sent out for our annual meeting notice that we were gonna be doing work at North Beach, which was discussed at our annual meeting in August. We discussed it at the annual meeting, it was voted in unanimously by the members at that meeting. So again, both abutters are aware of what's going on there. This isn't,
You still
to be
haven't
surprised,
been
but-
afforded an opportunity to have discussion and listen to this discussion as part of this meeting. So, it's not correct if we don't have some sort of request for determination. How do we not? Or something equivalent.
Again,
I
so
don't have
if,
any letter, I don't have anything.
so if the commission feels that the scope of work is greater than what was included in the original notice of intent application and the order of conditions, again, that was, discussed and voted upon at a public meeting. Again, it's you as the authority having jurisdiction, can say this is beyond the scope of what was, we think a request for determination of applicability should be filed. I mean, again, you got, in terms of, again, this was a scope was.
I know where we've given latitude for them to do certain things.
Yep.
Again, I just,
as
an abutter, I would want to be notified, and they haven't been notified.
Could they just send letters out to the NIA?
Or
That
to
would
the
cover it,
proximate, I mean,
And then
so you
the-
have contact information for them.
You do.
I mean, if we have, you know,
So, Eric?
is it
I
Commissioner?
mean, if I have some letter from the abutters that say, hey, I'm good to go with whatever, then I'm good. But I want to have some sort of,
So, you know, a signed, you know, quote unquote affidavit again,
Yeah,
doesn't need to be
yeah,
that legal.
you know.
But
I
saying,
don't
you
want to
know,
hold them up,
I
but again,
received,
you know,
I received this plan, and,
Yeah,
you
I'm
know,
good with it.
and I have no questions.
A
or,
cover
yeah.
letter.
Or I watch the, you know, just like you do with us, the Mullins rule or whatever. Hey, you know, I watched the discussion that was on the presentation on public access. I'm good with what's being proposed.
You could give them a link to watching
I
the
mean,
video.
we'll do what you want, whatever you want, but I mean, even still, I mean.
I'm not
what's-
saying that nothing that you're proposing
what-
isn't gonna happen. I'm just saying that typically we would require a butter notification. So, yeah, what
But
you're
the
saying
NA
is gonna happen, you're gonna do what you're gonna wanna do.
Again,
But-
the only thing that is not in our plan was the parking situation. And the parking situation has been discussed with both the butters.
And I guess, you know, what we're looking for is an acknowledgement from them, the way that if they came here and they could, you know, they could make their comments, they could make their feelings known. It might not change the decision, but they've had a chance to have their say. So what we're saying is that we would want both. Are you talking about a letter to them? Well,
I want them to give something to us that, like, maybe they saw this presentation, you know, on public access, they were good with what was being proposed.
yeah, so if they basically said, both of us provide a letter to us that says, yes, they've seen what's currently proposed and, you know, they're,
And they're good with the proposal.
yeah.
It's up to you.
I mean, I guess what comes of it if someone.
Well,
has
no,
a-
it's not, it's really up to us.
Yeah, but-
So it's, you know, I'm thinking that's what we would want,
Mhm.
because that would be equivalent.
Okay. And Marilyn?
I was gonna say, I don't think it's this complicated. I don't know why a letter can't go to the two abutters and say that it was discussed this evening and they should watch.
Well, that's what we were just saying.
Right, just say that.
But-
And if you
Yeah.
have any questions, please feel free to contact us.
Yeah.
A
No.
simple letter like
Are
that.
they only two abutters? Anyone across the street?
Two.
The
The guy
there's someone-
across the street wants it. He's
The guy across the street is a member of the board. Like I said, we've discussed it with him. I mean, I think there's some concern with the parking, only because some people are concerned that people are just gonna use it for, and this came up at the first meeting, where people are gonna park there. But we're gonna put signs up to prevent people from parking. And one of the main issues right now, as you can see, people just park in front of it, and we can't get access to it, people can't use it. It's a very narrow road with multiple parking spots. So I think the neighbors might not love it, but I think in terms of the members, the entire board was basically in favor of this, and the members were all in favor of doing this. So I guess my question is, if the two abutters have an issue with us moving the parking spaces in, but the entire rest of the NIA is okay with it, and this commission is okay with it, I guess where do we go from there? I guess that's
Well,
my-
they have their opportunity to have their say before the board and then, or the commission, and then commission renders their determination. But as a butters, they have that right to have their say.
Okay.
You know, and
One
then
more
we
step.
weigh that as a, you know, in context with the public hearing. But yeah, I would want to have them have the opportunity, or at least the opportunity, well, either they give us the okay that they're okay with this, or I want to continue so they have the opportunity to let us know why they want it.
So, okay,
So do we continue it and then send letters to the abutters to tell them to
I
come
would
to the
just
meeting?
We don't continue.
No, I mean,
We don't continue it.
I mean, it's not a public hearing, so we don't have to continue it. Again, it's just us adding it
if
to
we have-
the subsequent meeting. In terms of what I think if you were able to get something signed from them saying, here's what we're proposing to do. Are you okay? Are you okay with questions? Are you opposed? You know, so
Do
that.
you have comments?
Right, you know.
I mean, we don't want just, I'm opposed, we want, you know, if they have concerns, we would want to hear that.
Right, you know, and then, you know, in the intermeeting, you know, to get that in the next 2 weeks, come back to the meeting, and say either, hey, we've tried 5 times to, here's, like the post office when they're trying to get you to, a certified mail that, that you show a good faith effort to,
Right.
connect with them, not, 5 o'clock in the morning and, no one answers the door. So have something from them that acknowledges what's being proposed and giving them, and.
Or the efforts you've made trying to contact them.
If you do that tomorrow.
Because I certainly don't want somebody coming back to us and saying, well, why didn't you do it this way?
Yep.
Why didn't I have my opportunity
again,
in a public forum to have my ability
It's an
to comment?
It's an outreach, it shouldn't stop the,
But you,
because then we would
you
have you
had,
at the next meeting, and if there was a question.
you had a maintenance meeting here, I mean, you got a DEP number, didn't you get that? Didn't you have a meeting here before?
I didn't attend that meeting. That was before I was in this position, but I think Rob Walters did.
You've been
Yeah.
before,
I don't remember who
before,
came
somebody
before.
has.
Yeah,
Aaron
yes.
has.
Yeah,
I don't know who
Rob.
came
Yeah,
before
Rob
NIA, but I know you
Yeah.
laid out all
Okay.
the maintenance
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
upgrade plans for all the beaches.
Each of the beach, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
including this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we're kind of,
That was-
doing this.
That was official notification.
Right, and again, I don't recall much, if any, in,
Heard
a
nothing.
butter,
Yeah.
but, so, that's why we're doing this as a minor modification to,
Okay.
what, the plan that was proposed, identified as, potential need, as opposed to going, through directly going through a request for
I
determination.
think we had the public hearing, and I think we invited members of the public to
Yep.
listen and comment.
Yep.
But at that point, the plans were all very high level. This is.
This is very specific now. We didn't have
Yeah.
a plan before.
It is more,
But if the letter went out-
specific, but it was to reduce the
Yeah.
channelizing of the water. that goes
Right, but now
out.
we've added additional parking and other
I
stuff.
think
that
that's
probably
really the only
wasn't-
difference, is the parking. I think that
Yeah.
really is.
Okay, Marilyn?
I was gonna say, if you do it now, then by the next meeting, if there's anything, we do it then. If we don't hear anything, they got their notice, they didn't respond, then we move it forward.
We've
I don't
made a
think
good
it's-
faith effort to give them an opportunity
This is just to be
to
fair.
voice their, to voice their concerns or whatever.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our 8 o'clock agenda item, record site visit and discuss next steps for 43 Cold Spring Road.
And so at this time, I was unable to, I did not set up a site visit for the commission. I plan to do that next week. We'll be in touch time.
Should I just wait for anything in the mail?
No, I'll email you to coordinate with a time that works for you, works for the commissions to have the discussion. To meet on site, kind of assess the existing conditions, and then, the next steps.
Sure. All right, thank you.
Sorry you have to.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Sometimes it gets stuck.
Okay, moving on to our 8:05 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for 113 Concord Road.
Under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford Non-Zoning Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 29, 2025, at 8:05 p.m. in 201 Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application of Zachary Sindoni for the construction of a foundation wall and breezeway between the existing dwelling and garage within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetlands at 113 Concord Road, Assessors Map 15, Parcel 84, Lot 0.
Hi, good evening. My name is Zachary Sindoni with Sindoni Brothers Construction on behalf of the Williams over at 113 Concord Road. So we're proposing the 4-foot frost wall underneath the existing structure in the back of the house to encapsulate and connect the detached garage next to the home.
So included in the commission's meeting packet were the construction plans filed with the building commission, again, which shows the addition. Nope, that's framing. That's also framing. Everything is framing. Foundation nets. Again, this 4-foot frost wall between the existing structure and the garage. The annotated plan, as was provided in the commission's packet, again, shows the foundation work between the structure and the garage, determined to be 63 feet from the delineated wetland resource area. Additionally, they do show erosion controls on the north side of the house, wrapping from the existing paved driveway around to the rear, encapsulating both the construction access and the proposed area.
Looks good.
Any other questions?
No issues.
Matt?
No, again, just that the erosion controls be inspected prior to the commencement of work.
Any comments or questions from members of the audience? Can I have a motion to issue a conditional negative determination?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
So Matt will be in touch with the paperwork.
Perfect.
Yep.
Sorry to have to make you wait so long, but.
Yeah. But it
Thank you.
happens.
Yeah, it happens, yeah.
Okay, moving on to our 8:10 PM agenda item. It's a request for certificate of compliance for Decker Corp., 120 Main Street.
Good evening, everybody. Matt Waterman, here on behalf of Decker Corp. and the property owner, Patty D'Angelo. Decker Corp. could not make it tonight. Patty has purchased the house and is kind of working with us to help close out the certificate of compliance, obviously. But we're here tonight for a request for certificate of compliance. It's part of the Main Street Bob Hicks development on Main Street. It's the second house from the left, across from the cemetery. Well, they all are, but the order of conditions was issued back on June 23rd of 22. Set to expire June of 25, but with the Mass Extension Permit Act, it's set to expire June of 27. The development included a house, a septic, a driveway, stormwater components, a pool, a cabana, and then some buffer zone restoration, kind of similar to all the properties along this project. They all had that riverfront in the back. The work was completed late summer, early fall of this year. The house, the stormwater, the septic, and the driveway all kind of went in per plan. But there were some changes with the pool, the shed, and the fencing that's associated with the pool. The pool ended up getting shifted about 13 feet to the northwest. The shed was installed about 25 feet to the northeast, and the fencing got bumped out kind of coincidentally, mimicking those changes. The Maddow habitat in the very back is still being maintained. We're still outside of the 100-foot buffer. We were kind of mostly within the approved limits of work. There is a small portion that was outside of the approved limits of work. The pool chemicals, if you could look at you can see the patio, and then you can throw the pointer. Which one is it?
Red. You're not colorblind, are you? Okay.
I'm not. So you have the pool, there's a patio here, and then the pool components or the electrical components are here. This is actually not a full depth pool, it's a plunge pool. It's only about 3 to 4 feet deep.
4 feet.
And the chemical filter, it's not your typical backwash filter, it's a cartridge system. So you pull out the cartridge once a year and you wash it off. So it's not a typical pool that circulates and backwashes on a weekly basis. It doesn't have a drain to that effect. The pool chemicals associated with it are stored inside the garage. The shed is way off to where Matt's hand is in the back right of the property. The cabana was originally proposed up a little closer to the house. The shed is just used for patio furniture. There's no gas, oils, or anything stored in the shed. And all the chemicals are stored in the main garage. All work was kind of in, as you know, this was kind of the riding ring associated with the equestrian facility portion of the property. You can see the fence. So this was all kind of a disturbed area. And the changes, the pool and the shed, we're here tonight to obviously highlight the changes. But these are items typically in the riverfront that are exempt activities when they're associated with residential uses. We did establish the conservation post along the 100-foot wetland buffer. Most of these properties have that established. All the restoration work was completed in the back right corner. The pavement was removed in the gravel drive in this area. And we just have a little work to clean it up. I did send an email to Peter to clean up. There was just a couple pieces of pipe and trash that were kind of still laying. But the shed's been removed and it's just naturalizing.
How did the pool get put where it is, right on top of the erosion control barrier?
So I think what happened is at some point, this was
The erosion control barrier would have gone in first, right?
correct.
Okay, so now you have an EC barrier built.
And what happened was, I think originally when this property was still the riding ring, and this was a kind of a nicer field, this is that paved driveway that was back here that went behind the barn. I think there was access that was coming up to access the lot originally. So they were driving over the field, so it wasn't disturbed like excavation wise. I think this is when they initially came into the project day one. And I think they were just using this little area.
Before you built the pool, the erosion control barrier would have to be in fact, that is a.
It was, and I think it went in back here and it was a temporary thing and then it never got pulled forward.
So that it was put into a temporary location and then never moved into the location?
That's my best guess is what happened, because we have an aerial photo during construction and it shows the fencing here, but then it shows this lawn area mimicking the approved limit of work. And so the developer, the builder, didn't disturb it. And then when we were working with Patty and the pool company, we had a kind of a meeting, and before they all got started, and we had established that Land Tech was going to stake it out, and she was working with the pool company, and there was some miscommunication about staying within the erosion control. At the time, I didn't realize it had been pushed back, and so he said, yeah, as long as you stay within the erosion control, there should not be any problems. And so there was, I think, some changes that were made that were more impactful than we thought, unfortunately.
So there was what should have been interim erosion control in a different location, that once the need for that was, that once that interim erosion control was
And
not
they
needed, it
established a
should
new
have moved to
access.
the
There was
approved.
no basic plan that showed an interim location for erosion.
There was not, correct.
It was when we had the conversation about them being able to how they were gonna access the back part to remove the structure and the pavement.
Yeah, back here, and like I said, this was like day one. I think he was coming up through here, and then eventually he had a construction access that went in front of the barn that he used routinely for lots 1, 2, and 3. And so, like I said, I don't know why this erosion control got put back here, but it connects with this parking lot is my best guess, is that they were coming around. They hadn't taken down any of the fencing with Bob's original white picket fence that was everywhere, in front of his barn, in front of the house, and his office is there.
The building permit for the pool was submitted after the house, and it showed the pool and the pool deck outside of the riverfront area.
Kind of in similar.
Yeah, so how do we
Right,
allow
so-
this type of alteration?
So again, so again, in reviewing what, was provided, the pool was shown as this, kind of the extent of the plunge pool, the reduced patio area, again, where it was outside, where everything on the building permit application was shown as
Was
outside.
outside the river.
I was, I was amenable to it. I wasn't, because it was all being shown outside of jurisdictional areas. Again, in terms of, to Matt's point, if, the commission, the commission may find that the pool and shed as accessory structures structures and uses to a single-family dwelling, may be exempt from the riverfront regulations under 10.586(2), which states that certain minor activities under 10.22B1 are exempt. 10.2B2.
You know, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no to that, and I'll tell you why. Because it came in and we saw it the way it was supposed to be, and now we have it something different than what we approved. And now you're telling me there's a reason why we should be able to do it. And I'm saying no. Then why do we do what we do? We do what we do because we want it outside the 200-foot, riverfront area.
Okay.
We went out of our way to make it that way. It didn't happen that way. I don't think we should have to accept it the way it is.
Okay, so if that's, if other commissioners feel similarly, again, the next step, it's enforcement order, and it's, what's the commission's pleasure for, ordering it to be resolved,
It should be put back the way it was to the plan that we approved. I mean, why do we approve plans only to come back at now and find out they're different than what we approved? And then we're like, hey, is this good enough? To me, it's not.
It's not just the erosion control line that was clearly violated from the start, but the plan also shows where the
post and rail fence was, and the pool goes right across where that was.
Well, I think that was
That's
existing.
existing, right, but
Yeah.
it shows that that's where, it wasn't supposed to be there.
What wasn't supposed to be there?
The pool was not supposed to be on the location where the fence had been located.
Oh, okay.
Just like it shouldn't.
Right,
have been on
I mean,
Because
that's
the erosion control
it shouldn't-
measures.
It shouldn't have been on the erosion control line either. I mean, there were all kinds of warning signs that the pool was going in the wrong location. But it was built in
You
the
mean
wrong-
if somebody had looked at the plan?
Any plan, yes, the only plan that should have been on site, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the commission amenable to us coming back with a plan that moves some or all of the components? There's obviously things that I think we can do that are more easily done than other things, and I think there's also some restoration work that we could develop and come back to the board with. I think moving the pool components is something that I think is the furthest in, if you will, and or maybe the shed.
How many feet is that pool?
The pool, it's the encroachment, the 200-foot riverfront cuts through it, and I've had a hard time, I think it goes to here and then it cuts across.
So what are the dimensions of that facing around the pool?
The pool is 12 by 20, and I don't know how wide the deck is, I think it's about 6 feet or 8 feet.
So it's about 20 feet to the erosion control, roughly.
Well, no, but it's,
More than 20 feet into
well,
the...
20,
I think we could do some significant mitigation in through here. I think we could potentially move the pool components and get it outside the 200-foot riverfront. The shed was originally designed to be a cabana. This is a much less intense use. It's just dry storage. There's no one ever goes to it, to be honest, a couple times a year. I think a cabana is a much different kind of use. I think it's important to note that, I think there some of those subtle changes, I think they're not as subtle. I think they're important to note. And we could certainly work with Matt to develop a
That sounds
plan to
reasonable,
come
then
back.
come up with some proposed
Yeah,
mitigation
I'm willing
plan.
to see,
Okay.
something that pulls the majority of that stuff out and, limits the work within the 200-foot riverfront.
We'd appreciate that opportunity to
Mitigates
do
the,
that.
Yeah.
the intrusion.
okay, so in terms of the elements that are now within the riverfront area, is there,
Sounds like you can pull
No,
out a
no,
concrete. Okay, sorry.
are there elements that you see as bigger issues? The pool versus the shed, do they carry equal weight, or is one more,
To the extent he can pull the shed and the concrete pad out of outer repair area, and that'd be great. To the extent that he can modify the pool, to the extent that he can limit the impact within that outer 100-foot repair, you know.
I think we could put some drainage in, we could
Yeah,
do some
let's see
plantings.
let's see what he can do. But I mean,
There's things we could
to
do.
the extent that we're always saying we don't want to see any more than like 10% alteration in the outer repairing zone, you know, I want to hold it, it's a lot more than that right now. So to the extent that he can, you know,
Okay.
mitigate that, pull it back, and
And others, in terms of Eric identifying the, you know, what you would like to see move, what you would, you know, what would be a priority to move versus a priority to mitigate, you're in agreement with Eric?
What Eric said.
No?
Question about the shed, is that on a concrete pad, you said?
No, it's just kind of on blocks. It's stone base with a.
so I can move out of
That
there.
could be
where it's
moved too.
at. Yeah.
Okay.
There's that shed mover guy. That's the name of his company. He moves sheds.
Okay.
So he might be a good person to talk to. I don't know how, he's got some special machine that he literally can move a shed very
Big
slowly.
pallet
Like an oversized forklift?
Yeah. It's, I've never seen it, but I know they did it with one of our projects recently where he did move the shed.
Okay.
So is this the current as-built?
Yep.
Some will consider, how did this change from the, like, you know, you have an approved plan, like who?
No, I know, and we
I was
had a
just
team
talking about
meeting,
that.
and
Like, what was
we
the-
all met, and we kind of turned it over to Patty and the pool company, and I think there was some light discussions. I think we could have had better discussions on what the limits were, and what we can and can't do. I think and I think the pool company might have taken some liberties to make some changes without coming back and checking with us, and
So it was
I
a
think there was just
combination.
kind of a series of small events that were, none of it was intentional, I can tell you that. Because we all met on
Well, you're
site.
gonna fix it.
We know what this board expects, and unfortunately,
No, I appreciate it.
it was just a lack
Come
of.
back with some changes, and, you know, let's see where we
We'll
can go
work
from
something
there.
out.
No, we'd appreciate the opportunity.
Matt knows our direction.
And it just, and it,
Yeah.
this is, but it's also, this is something that we worked very hard to try and prevent. And it sounds like once the developer kind of stepped back, there wasn't that level of
Checks and
somebody.
Of oversight, yeah.
Yeah, keeping his eye on what somebody who knew the oversight that was required for the contractors. And
And
you know, we try and prevent this, and we can't always do it. So, but yeah, so when would you want to,
Next meeting, if possible, we'd
Okay.
appreciate it.
we'll see you in November 12th?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to our 8:15 PM agenda item, it's Camp Neshoba Sternbrook Conservation Area discussion to proceed with negotiation for Teamworks Adventure Camp lease extension. And I think, Jim, you've got a report of the meeting that we had on September 17th? Well, you were going to, in terms of when we met with Teamworks and Ellen and Matt, in terms of outlining what was discussed.
Oh, okay. We got the focus from Westford Land Preservation Foundation was not on numbers of vehicles by any means. It was strictly on the paving. They do not want it paved, and they'll consider anything other than full paving as a roadway. We didn't really talk too much about the alternatives for that because there's a lot of variation in cost depending on what mechanism is used to upgrade or improve the road. So that information was going to come from Kyle Fox. And we eventually kind of homed in as a group on one means of evaluating the road on a regular basis. Have someone from the Westford Public Works Department come down, say maybe every 2 or 3 weeks during the camp season and evaluate the road. Does it need repair or is it good enough the way it is? If it needs repair, then we have to figure some way to divide the costs between the rec department, who uses part of the road, and Teamworks, who uses a larger part of the road. And how many students each group organizes or rides in every day. We also discussed some way to fund that, because associated with it, every repair job that might be done over the course of the summer season, Some of them might be very simple, fill a few potholes. Others might be a lot more expensive, grading and scarified asphalt or something like that. And so we have to figure out all the different prices that are available and figure out how to divide the costs between the two organizations. That was pretty much what we discussed on it.
And what Teamworks was agreeable to was, in terms of the extra cost to address condition issues with the road, they were amenable to negotiating a road maintenance surcharge, so that they and the rec department would be covering part of the cost.
When we start the camp at the beginning of the year, the town of Westford would ensure that the roadway is in good condition and is usable. And then over the course of the season, if it degrades, then the two organizations would be responsible for paying whatever is needed to repair it. And I think we also talked about having sort of not a slush fund, but sort of a little escrow type.
Almost like a revolving fund.
Almost like an escrow account, to have it set up in advance of the season, knowing that, or expecting that we're gonna have to do some repairs on the road, have the funds available so that when it.
So just a dedicated
when it is needed-
escrow.
So when it is needed to be
Okay.
done, we immediately call Kyle Fox and say, okay, we agree with your assessment, do the filling, do the scarified asphalt, do the grading, whatever.
Got it.
And we have the funds to pay for it.
That
Or if we
sounds
don't-
like a good
or if we
idea.
don't, we have to collect more from rec and.
Yeah, we could have a dedicated account for that. We have other dedicated
Well-
accounts.
And then if it turns out they don't use it over the course of the season, we give it back to them.
Or
We'll
let it
carry
sit till
over.
next year.
No, I'd
It's not-
carry
it's
it
not part
over
of
to
the
the
rent.
next year.
It's not part of the rent, it's sort of, it's like a surcharge account for the roadway maintenance. The rent will be.
Although I would say this, if there's a certain amount of money that would be allocated to it, if we didn't use it in a particular season or something, I don't know if I'd give it back
It could
because
roll over.
it could be twice as much the next
Well, the
season.
contract goes for 2 or 3 years, and we could roll it over for 2 or 3 years.
Okay, yeah, I'd roll it.
Those
Those
kind
arrangements-
of details could be all worked
Right,
out.
right.
But that was it, there was general agreement that they would be willing to put some funds up ahead of time in, for maintenance of the road
Okay.
as needed, as determined by these routine periodic inspections. And that was about it.
And, well, and one more piece is part of this is Chris Wallace, who's basically
Regional director.
regional director, yes, he said, in concept, we're on board with this. We've got to get town council, they've got to get their lawyer. In terms of how we write it into a lease agreement, they're on board with it, but now we need to enter the negotiations so that the two sides can
Come to a sign.
draft the
agreement,
words that put it into
And we
what
have
we want
we
to
have a
happen.
working document.
Yes.
Right,
Okay.
from the existing.
And there's a lot of legwork to be done, like Jim said, like getting pricing and this and that.
Well,
How we allocate the costs. The whole road needs to be done, how much do we charge Teamworks, how much do we?
But some of that we can get internally.
So who's gonna do all that legwork?
Right, so in terms
Can
of the
ask for it.
DPW, it's asking, they, according to Ellen during the meeting, she mentioned that they have, the past, I think it was, 10, 15, 20 years of kind of work orders and kind of, documenting,
Man hours, material costs.
what they've done. So, getting that, kind of looking at where's our average, again, in terms of hours, materials, or volume of materials, regardless of what it is, and then kind of, projecting out for the next year.
Yeah.
Again, having some basis to, and so, again,
So who's gonna do all that? You are.
right, yeah, it's to get that information and then start incorporating that. Where the commission, this kind of comes back to the commission as you've delegated, Jim and Margaret to kind of work, be the intermediaries, representing the commission, is now it's, are we at the point where the commission votes to, enter negotiations for a 1-year lease extension, a 5-year lease agree,
Yeah.
what's the, and it's putting it back to the commission to say, yes, here's what we want to continue to, we want to continue with this, we want to enter into negotiations, and then it happen, and then that can be between, again, Margaret, Jim, Again, involving the town manager's office, as ultimately the select board is going to be
Which can change if something changes.
What's the appetite for the Westford, what's the WLPF?
Westford Land Preservation.
Land Preservation.
Foundation.
What's their appetite for it? Or what's their feedback on how long the
We haven't
contract
given them
should
that.
be?
Well, no, no, is,
They have no,
their interest is with the CR.
okay.
You know, as long as what we're doing, they believe is consistent with the CR, whether, you know, what the length of this renegotiated contract is, that's not the issue, it's what's happening. One of the things in terms of when we do the negotiation, some of it is looking at, you know, negotiation is maybe not entering, my thought is not entering the negotiation saying, we're gonna just do 1 year or we're gonna do 5 years. It's let's talk, because if we, in terms of how this works overall, it may be easier to say, let's start out trying to negotiate a 5-year lease extension with these road maintenance surcharges, and then if we start to run into challenges, whatever, we can say, well, let's look at maybe doing a shorter lease extension. You know,
We'll figure that out. You figure
yeah,
it out.
it's just, if you look at the maximum, you can always shorten it, whereas if you start short, it becomes, you either have to renegotiate or it becomes more complicated to extend. Jim, you're looking awful quiet.
The extension of the lease, we extended, the commission here had extended the lease by what, 3 months, 4 months?
I think it expired the end of August. I think it was 4 months.
4 months, okay, something like that.
Again,
We had a meeting where we met, where the town manager was involved, and for some reason, she jumped to extending the lease by a year. Like, I wasn't sold on extending the lease by a year. We've already gone through the full contract with Teamworks. The expectation had been we would put out the bid again. It wasn't gonna be, well, we'll just go back with the same vendor. We might get a better deal with a different vendor, I don't know.
Well,
So I'm not sold on the idea of extending for a year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever. I know that's what the town manager
Why are
mentioned.
But a
you
year
looking to
would be
change
till what time?
Teamworks?
What?
Till, when would the year end if it was a year?
Probably December.
Well, it's either the end of August or the end of December, but it ends sometime in 2026. So some of this is, you know, is if we have a mechanism for dealing with the cost of the road maintenance, is there some reason why we would not want to extend with Teamworks, once we come to an agreement with that?
I think
Is that
we.
the best deal?
What?
Is that the best deal we're gonna get?
Well, I
don't know.
don't tend to.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
It's
we're
a
either
working deal to
we're either
me. This is a
negotiating
problem.
with Teamworks, you know, again,
Right.
we're negotiating with Teamworks, or it's going back out to RFP. I understand your point of, you know, it's the best deal,
It is.
but, you know,
For now.
I mean, so,
Those
you
are
know,
the
we
choices.
can start with, you know, if it's the commission's pleasure to extend with Teamworks, you know, or to, you know, enter into negotiations and extend with Teamworks, then there we get, you know, then that's the, you know, kind of the direction.
We're not committing ourselves to do it. We
No,
can
but
try.
to enter into
If
negotiations,
it works
that's,
out, great. If it doesn't work out.
that's why it's enter into negotiation, you know, you are negotiating there.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're hoping to get to an agreement. If we don't get to an agreement,
Right. Then you look elsewhere.
but yes, but then we're potentially, you know,
Continue to finish the sentence. If we don't get into, we should.
if we don't
we
get
look for
into
other
negotiation and
solutions.
we have to go to an RFP,
Right.
we are potentially looking at not having a camp for 2026.
That could
Right,
happen.
and that's not a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
idea. No, that's
Be the
not
end
a
of the
good
world.
idea.
But
I don't
wouldn't
agree with
wanna
that.
do that, but it wouldn't be the end.
Well, it would
Yeah.
mean.
For you.
But I don't agree
yeah.
with that, so, you know,
Yeah.
what you're saying there. Because
Okay,
I
so-
want to camp there, period. The best way. I'm not looking to, you know, do something for 2-3 months and then all of a sudden lose what we have. I want a longer range. We have a lot of problems now with the property.
Yep.
So let's look at all of them holistically and figure out things, and right now handle this one. So I like the idea of, you know, getting together with them and working out a
Problems we have
solution.
with the property aren't related to the camp, really.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
other
Oh,
property.
I got
Yeah.
it. Technically, you're right, but I don't agree with you.
Yeah. So,
Right now, doesn't mean I won't change my mind.
so can I have a motion to proceed with negotiations for Teamworks Adventure Camp lease extension for a period of up to 5 years? Just to see where that gets us. See what we can come up with through negotiation. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay,
Great, thank you.
okay.
I'm sorry, do you have more? Because
Well, no, because there's also Stony Brook Conservation, well, that's really mostly, so, okay, so we don't really have anything that deals with facilities management
Not-
listed here.
No, facilities management.
you mean.
We don't have
that-
anything listed in the agenda.
I have a request to add on the agenda from the open forum, right?
Yes, yep.
Marilyn?
No, I too am concerned about the piece that we keep avoiding.
Okay, so,
So, the idea of
Well, there's-
maintenance up there about the bathhouse and all of that. I think the time has come for us to at least put it in some kind of a look, what we're gonna do, how we're gonna examine this and what we'll do about it. It can't be that we never discuss it at any meeting.
well, and I guess what we haven't had closure on to this point is the letter that Elizabeth Almeida sent, I believe.
That
Yes.
was
And
included.
and then the next letter we
And
just
then,
got
again, and that
tonight.
was received, at the commission's seats was a letter from Nancy Rosinski
Yeah, it's
Monday
it's all the
after.
same.
But, well, no, because, yeah, but in terms of taking things chronologically, when Matt had sent in, not this packet, but the packet, this was the packet that had the email thread between Elizabeth and the town manager.
Yes.
And the town manager had basically said she had met with town staff and they were putting together a plan to address the issues.
Yes,
said
Kristen.
included
Town
in
manager.
the,
Okay,
I don't remember where was it in miscellaneous?
It's in this packet.
Right, I just don't remember where in this
Oh.
packet.
Towards the end.
Yeah,
That's because they got a letter, I'm sure, from June McMorrow.
No,
No,
No? That's before that?
June's is
But June sent a letter. Okay.
oh,
Just talking about the revolving fund.
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, that,
June was for
Was-
these,
Was all of the above.
oh, it was included in the
That-
Stony Brook
the
Conservation Area
bathrooms
cover
and that.
sheet. So, again, there was
All the wonderful
emails
visitors.
from,
Page 271.
yeah, right, and so there was an email from June McMorrow included, discussing use of the revolving fund
oh,
as a result of the FinCom, I think, a FinCom meeting. And then included was Elizabeth Almeida's email regarding their rental and the
That's it,
conditions.
yeah, that
Right,
was
yeah,
Elizabeth's letter.
Right.
Yeah.
yep. And then the town manager's response, again, discussed the dumpster and that had been resolved. In terms of, develop a plan moving forward, again, in terms of procedures and processes, establishing what we are expecting of a facilities manager to be doing when checking in people, checking out people, what the process is, receiving, for renters to receive, the property in condition.
And who polices it? And how do you,
Well,
and all of
so-
the above?
no, but actually with that plan, is the commission,
Right, and so it's town staff to, is developing it, because again, it involves, what's not being done by, what's not included in the facility coordinator's contract.
We don't know if
that-
there is.
No, it is,
Yeah.
what's
I'm
not
sure it's
included
not.
in that then has to be performed and accounted for by other town departments, whether it's, the repair of water service, or, electricity, when, I mean, the 2024, we had
Or
two,
policing the property.
right,
That's a big one.
But some of this is, so I guess, is the, maybe I'm not hearing correctly, but I think with what Kristen is talking about here, the commission would like to be aware of what's being planned, in terms of that we have a role and a responsibility in this as well.
yes.
And I think that's where
Does she have the maintenance facilitator's contract?
the signed one that you're looking
The
for.
actual contract, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if she's.
So everyone's operating there with a.
No, I mean, yes, I've provided the town manager's office with the contract. Has she looked at it? I can't answer.
Okay, so
Okay.
there is.
Yes, there's a contract. Jim, I will send it to you as soon as we adjourn.
Okay.
I will not leave the seat and send you.
Thank you.
Go
Okay.
home to that child of yours.
Okay, so, and a lot of what Nancy was reiterating was what was Elizabeth's concerns.
And June's and others.
Well, yeah. So with the revolving fund, can the money in that account be used to pay any town staff to go be at the day beach to ensure compliance with regulations?
I'll have to confirm with the finance director. My understanding of what the revolving account can or can't be used for is it can't be used to pay for town staff and salaries. That's why we have a contracted. That's why, in my understanding, again, why a contracted facilities coordinator, the George Fletcher position, Jeff Mao, the current vendor. That's why they always were contracted separate from being a town employee,
So you're gonna sign this.
And so I think that's.
You're gonna get
'cause
clarity.
Well, but it basically is why we couldn't use a revolving fund to pay a police officer or somebody else to go down and be at the beach or do the caretaking or anything like that. Is the revolving fund comes with restrictions.
So we
for-
need an attorney's opinion.
Employ them outside their regular.
That's again.
Okay.
Yeah, but then you're not employing them as a police officer. You're employing them as something else.
Correct.
And which would,
I want to employ them as a police officer.
right. But, and
I don't want to put a high school kid down.
Yeah,
there.
somebody who was.
No. First you have to find out, do we have any money?
Okay.
We have, there's approximately $160,000.
Yeah.
That's a
And-
nice
and
amount.
yes. But
No way.
It's amount. I know you could
But a
use some
police
other
officer on
things, but-
detail, what is that?
Right, is that a special, how does that?
Right.
yes.
That's what I want to do.
But that's also not something we can demand. That's something we can request. We
I
cannot,
said the word want.
right, yes. But I'm just saying is, we have tried it in the past and I think we were discouraged because of a lack of somebody saying, yes, I'll take that detail.
Is that money, the money that was given to us? when
The revolving
closed-
account, it's
When the closeout?
there's a portion of that is from the Friends of EBC. When they closed out, they donated it. Additionally, it's, rental receipts.
Okay.
And
So we need a lot of legal clarities first to know how we can, we haven't had to do this before.
Yeah.
Do
But
we
it's-
have money? And if we use it up, where do we get? money
But
from?
some of it is also into getting to Jim's frustration. Sometimes citations are issued, sometimes they're not. When a citation is issued, it then gets transferred into the court system?
yes.
And at that point, the town of Westford and Westford staff are no longer in charge of what happens to that case. It can be dismissed, it can be a fine, it just.
So we have a lot of
In all the
learning to
police
do.
reports I've read over the last two or 3 years, I only saw one reference to a citation being issued.
And there was,
Maybe there were more than one, but only one was mentioned
yeah,
in like 2 or 3 years.
And how much money did we have from the Friends?
55,000?
Yeah, thereabouts, yeah.
So is that plus, we have 55?
No, that's
part
that's-
of, part and
right.
parcel, got it.
And, you know, in terms of, you know, and yes, that's not an insignificant amount. But the septic
in
repair
perpetuity?
at Camp Cielo this past year cost $88,000. So, you know,
Understood.
another septic and, you know, the roof of the dining hall, granted, it was recently replaced, but in the event, you know.
So another question is, how do we keep adding to this fund if we wind up with the responsibility, you know, that we're looking at here? We only pay for 1 year and then we have no money. You know, how do we add to that fund so we can do that job? Because obviously we can't.
That's rental receipts. That's, you know, having a commercial, you know,
So we need a whole
lease.
study on this thing, a whole.
Right, but having the, you know, but that cost, and again, we'll be going out for another request for proposals for caretaker services for 3 years. So, you know,
I understand.
there may be, you know,
It's a
that
much
cost
bigger
may.
thing. It's a much bigger piece than
What-
just one thing.
But the other thing is that 55,000, there's 15,000 that we expect to be spending to repoint the chimney. The other 40,000, the Friends of EBC had basically said, our next priority for what you do with this money is to deal with, the girls. Yeah, so it's not,
What they told us when they came here, Rose O'Donnell, when she spoke to us, she gave us one set of priorities, like you just listed. But then when they spoke to the selectmen's letter back to us telling us what they accepted had a different.
okay, but it was.
I understood. I
Yeah,
understand what you're saying.
It doesn't come with spend it on what you think would be.
But, so some of that money already is not technically earmarked, but hopefully earmarked for things that we also need to do.
Yes.
So it's a big picture. It's not something that we solve in 1 week, you know? So I get that. But then
So-
where does
so
the
what's
money
next?
come, where does the money come thereafter to pay for what we need?
Yep.
So we are responsible for all these things, right? The bathhouse, door, the.
Well, but, and I guess that was another thing, is, who brought it up that one of the things is that the Friends had basically said, in season, the bathhouse is kept unlocked.
Oh, that was me. When they came to us to ask us about permission to build, to do the fundraising and build a bathhouse there. One of the topics that came up was it going to be open to the public, or is it going to be used strictly for campers? Because, you know, if it's all the money's going to go for, at the time, I think, might have been the first, who was the one with the sword fighters? That
Oh, yeah.
group.
LARPA.
Guards up,
Guard
or-
up. I think it was that group, roughly at that time frame. But the Friends representative that came told us that it was going to be open to the public.
So that anybody walking through, if they need to use the facilities, they could use the facilities rather than the
There was
woods.
going to be porta potties, but there was going to be the bathhouse.
Mhm.
And-
If you can find a meeting minute, yeah, again, or give me a general time frame of when this.
Who's the Friends member that lives up on Pilgrim?
Leslie Thomas.
Leslie. I think it was Leslie Thomas that gave us.
Right. Again, having that direct. Again, my view was always, if they're open, then there's a potential for vandalism. There's a potential for right. And so I've always operated under the guise of, if it's not being rented, if the caretaker isn't up there, you know, and him and his staff are using it, or, you know, the rental, the camp's not in session, that it's locked, because again, it's out of sight.
I see your
It's
point. I
You
do.
can lock it and have porta potties.
It's not the way it would.
right, and that's
That can
again
be changed too.
having
Yeah,
that.
All
you
of
know,
this has to come
right.
under discussion.
Yeah.
Everything has to be
There's a lot of
discussed.
rules we're supposed to be following there.
Well,
that
we've
essentially
gotten
we
big.
can't. Like, one of them, remember there was the master plan for the property? That tells us that we're supposed to operate within the budget of whatever our income is from rental fees and rent and leases for the camp are supposed to cover all of the maintenance for the property, all the
Big
camp
jump.
property. And it doesn't.
I mean, and that's
Not even,
and- and-
It's probably a
not
guideline.
even close, and we've already violated that one by.
And again, this master plan was written, you know,
Yep.
immediately upon, you know,
Yeah, 2 years,
acquisition,
in the coming 2 years.
you know. And so, you know, that's something,
We have a
like,
big
if the
project.
commission, you know, wants to pursue an update of that master plan, I'm certainly in favor of it, because we have 20 years of history of how it actually operates.
Remember, the master plan tells us we're supposed to do active forestry management. We tried that, remember?
Yeah.
Well, and it also.
We got shut down big time by everybody in the public.
It also talks about an EBC advisory board that had representatives from the water department, a bunch of different places, and that's that's never come forward. It also talked about having a land stewards group that would be responsible. So I think there were some great things that just never came to fruition, and yeah, maybe we need
Whose
to.
job was it though to set up those groups?
Nobody said.
There was an advisory board, I was on it.
Okay.
And we set up the rental mechanism, how rec was gonna operate.
I recall seeing something like that in the town clerk's boards and committee database.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I can certainly get information
So what's our
about.
next step? Because we have to respond to these letters and whatever.
Do we want to take a look at this place?
Well,
Do we want to what?
Do a site visit or anything? There's enough feedback already here.
well, but
I confirm everything that's on.
Yeah, I
I
mean.
don't know about your wife's, but Nancy's, I agree. I was there I didn't realize I was there the same day as her.
Yeah.
But I walked up the same day just to check it out, and it was unlocked, and still had the problem with the door. The place was clean, though. Somebody cleaned it.
Has the problem with the door been fixed?
I can confirm.
Okay, yeah.
It had been on Sunday.
It hasn't.
Had not been on
Okay,
Sunday.
so right now, I believe they're in the process of shutting everything down, draining and winterizing.
I heard that was happening yesterday.
Yeah, he's in the process of, again,
Yeah.
I think it was yesterday.
So, and I get, some of this is, things didn't go this way this year, the way they should have. We're going out.
We hear you.
Yeah, but it just, part of it is where Nancy is echoing a lot of the things that Elizabeth said, is that's where the plan that the town manager and team are developing, that feeds into it. And yes, without knowing the details, it's kind of, we would be responding in a vacuum. Marilyn?
I think we need to send a letter to town manager, copy to the people who have sent letters, that we hear you, we are addressing you. We will, as we formulate our own ability to check these things out, we will keep you informed. We appreciate that you care, we care too, the end. But I'd send it to all of them, so that, stop, we heard you, and then we continue on.
Okay. So in terms of the direction we want to take, there's been some talk about the EBC advisory board. Is that maybe something that needs to get reactivated? Do we want to maybe consider, does the master plan need to be up? I guess besides a new RFP for facilities management, what other direction do we want to go in to maybe address other issues beyond facilities management?
So this group hold the contractor to task if something was not working or whatever? Would they be looking at the feedback from the people who rented?
You're talking about
This
advisory?
group, yeah. Is that the purpose of this group?
I'd have to look at the charter, again, no, but I
Is
don't.
there a charter?
I don't know.
I think it dissolved many years ago, but.
Well, but I'm saying in terms of looking at, if there was a board or committee, they had a purpose that probably was, established in
Maybe you could bring
its
it in.
guidance, and so I can certainly ask the town clerk for that and try.
So what was in the master plan is that the advisory committee shall meet on a periodic basis as necessary to discuss policy and operating issues affecting the property and shall make recommendations to the Conservation Commission.
Did we ever get those?
Back years ago, yeah. There was a sheet that indicated all the rental guidance.
Well, let's find that sheet.
Whether it was gonna be Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts.
Let's find that sheet.
I will say that we are like way outside of this discussion item, which was simply discuss whether or not we were gonna talk about the
Teamwork
lease
lease.
extension.
Yeah.
So let's get back on that and let's not
Well,
take off
I
on the
mean,
tangents that we've taken here.
Yeah.
You know, we can have this discussion another time.
So,
But this
okay.
item was to discuss whether or not we
and
were
a vote
gonna
was,
proceed
and a vote
with
was, and a vote was,
negotiations.
vote-
But
And
you
the vote
still
was-
have to
okay, so-
answer the letters that you got. You can't keep, you know,
Well-
we can't ignore that.
I'm not saying that, but that's not part of this 8:15 PM discussion item.
Okay.
That one's done.
Yeah,
So
we took a
we've
vote.
taken it way out of context, so let's
Okay.
get back and focus on what we're supposed to be dealing with here.
So what we should really do is, on the November 12th meeting, have a discussion about, have a agenda item that says, what direction do we need to go to start dealing with
The
the
issues.
myriad of issues that we have?
That's fine.
For the care and custody, you know, and put it in a positive way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Okay.
that.
Me too.
But getting back to our 8:15 PM agenda item, we've discussed it, so what are we,
We have a vote.
you guys voted.
You voted.
there we go.
Okay, so, Jim, you're just waving your hand?
Yeah,
Okay.
No, so let's move on.
Okay, so our
So-
next 8:15 agenda item is discussing our 2026 dates.
So included in the commission's meeting packet and provided hard copy were proposed 26 and some 27 meeting dates. 26, 2026, 27 meeting dates. January through October look very twice a monthy and good.
We have trouble with Hanukkah.
No, and so November and December, that's where, again, I think the discussion therein
It's the
lies.
first and second night of Hanukkah particularly, when they light, you know, so I think that you're fine. In my house, you'd be
I
fine.
think the question is a public holiday, right?
Right, well, so, you know, Veterans Day on November 11th, town hall's closed. The commission could
People
potentially,
go away.
no, but I mean, it's a Wednesday, that's a
The holidays.
Wednesday. It's a Wednesday in the middle of the week, so,
You're right, it's a Tuesday this year, it's a Wednesday next year.
right, and
So we
so,
can't meet on our regular date because the building's closed.
and, you know, again, showing the other conflicts, again, the zoning board of appeals meeting on the third Wednesday of the month, Thanksgiving Eve being the
We're
fourth.
definitely not doing that.
Yeah, again, so if the commission is amenable, we could certainly have a meeting on Thursday, November 12th. I checked with the finance director, as FinCom is a regular Thursday meeting, and that's before they start doing their regular stuff. So if amenable with the commission, we could have, it's an off night, but
Yeah,
if not, we're going the entire month of November without having a meeting.
Yeah, no, that would be fine with me. I wouldn't have trouble with that.
In December, again, the second is in the middle of Hanukkah, the third is the zoning board of appeals meeting, the fourth is
It's the first
December
and second
20.
night of Hanukkah that usually people
So
light
again,
candles.
so December 4th is,
I think it's all
or
right.
December
It's
9th.
not the whole week, you know what I mean?
Right,
You
so
don't-
December 9th is further into it. With that also being said, if we wanted to have, I do not think there is any board or committee that regularly meets in this meeting room on the first Wednesday of the month. So we could have a first Wednesday meeting, and if necessary, and, you know, people are clamoring for
Second, December 2nd?
December 2nd,
Yeah,
correct,
that would work.
kind of that.
No, I don't see what's wrong with that.
Yeah.
Just put it in
And then,
early so you tie it
know,
up.
December 23rd, school is, there's a half release that day, so, I mean,
I
if-
wouldn't do that.
okay.
Not December 23rd.
That's a Wednesday, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's not my holiday, but I think a lot of
I mean,
people would.
if-
So just the one
It'd be a
on
little
December
busy.
2nd?
Well, that's, I mean, then we're going, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Right.
6 weeks between meetings. Again, we could
What?
have,
Really?
look,
Yeah.
it's right on the
December-
screen.
Yeah, it's right here on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I spaced that, okay.
So
No, Marilyn.
if we don't, you know, so, you know, we'll have 3 weeks between, say, the
November,
The-
December.
Yeah, the first November and the first Wednesday in December. And then we're going, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks between
How about
meetings.
December
Well, meet
15th, is
December
that
2nd.
Wednesday?
Meet the
December?
first, meet on the 2nd of December.
Yeah,
We are.
he's talking about another meeting.
Yeah.
I think-
It's 6 weeks from December
Well, then meet
2nd.
on the 30th of December as well.
Well, I mean, and that's, I mean, that's certainly
How about the 15th? It's a Wednesday.
It's the 60, you need to look at,
16th
year.
is a, sorry, it would be a Tuesday, the 15th.
that conflicts with the select board, and I don't have
So-
certainly the political capital to ask for that.
And we have vacation that nobody ever has.
One of the things that Matt and I had talked about, and I think we did this a couple of years ago, is we have the December 23rd meeting on the calendar, but we don't continue anything to it. If anybody's doing a filing, we say, can you, will you accept going to January 13th
Yes.
instead?
Yeah, I
So
agree with
that
that.
there ends up being nothing on the meeting.
That's fine.
And then we can cancel it, at the
Yeah,
beginning
that
of
works.
the, again,
Yeah, that works.
I would know on December 2nd whether or not anything was filed,
That's fine.
unexpectedly.
So we're
Okay.
currently looking at
Getting
November 11th.
12th.
I'm sorry, November 12th,
Say when?
December 2nd,
Yes.
and
December 23rd,
December
which we're
23rd.
I'll put in parentheses, like, if needed, don't file for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, is we would,
Okay.
meetings
You'll
coming
tell
up
us
to
as
that,
soon
we
as
will
you know.
not continue anything to December 23rd. Anybody's
Okay.
filing, we will
See if they'll
strongly,
move it off to our first meeting in January.
yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
but it's there if we need it.
Okay. You'll remind us
Hopefully
of
not.
this.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm getting punchy.
Okay.
Speed run, here we go. The certificate of compliance request for 69 Broadway Street, 334-1693. I have not received any information for the commission's consideration. As originally raised during the open forum, the applicant for the notice of intent application at 6 Olive Road, 334-1879, has requested a continuance without discussion to the commission's November 12th, 2025 meeting.
Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to November 12th?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I do not have an update on the 3 enforcement discussions at 20 Keys Road, 20 Keys Road, 27 Tenny Road, 35 Keys Road. I will need to schedule a meeting with the association leadership at Lakeside Meadows to discuss encroachments, vegetation dumping in the open space conservation restricted parcels, and discuss the, kind of start brainstorming ideas for next steps and means to resolve. I do not have an update on the eminent Neshoba Brook conservation areas, the use of the properties by the commercial entities. With respect to the chimney repairs of the Neshoba Lodge at East Boston Camps, I need to follow up with the contractor to confirm that, or to ensure that his pricing is,
Prevailing wage.
yes, using the prevailing wage, as it is a town project, and get a third quote.
Do we have somebody to get a third quote from?
I have a name and just need to send it.
Okay.
I do not have any update on the Edward Woods Conservation Area, the restoration of the disturbed areas. But the police department in recent weeks have been documenting instances of dumping. The most recent one was at the Akerdeen De Silva trailhead on Stony Brook Road. There was some bricks and leaves that were dumped there. So they're looking to track instances of dumping and activity on town parcels to start tracking and logging it. This is one of the places this and Freedom Park are a couple places where I want to report as, dumping is occurring, especially at the end of, I think it's Hemlock Road. People are dumping their leaves there and getting it logged so that it then can be, included in their patrol, kind of their regular routine observations. The Freedom Park improvements, I know if can schedule a site, I know we discussed the site visit at the previous meeting. I did not set one up. If anybody has gone out, this leads into the CPC needs assessment hearing is December 2nd. So my intention is to have kind of a draft proposal for the commission to review and present at the needs assessment hearing for both the retaining wall and overall, kind of improvement and preservation of the site and
The elements that need to be addressed?
yes.
Okay.
Should we do the short-term stuff, like fixing the boards? Wasn't there a big hole in one of the boards?
Oh, the dock.
Yeah, the fishing pier. Yeah, I can ask DPW to see if they can tackle that, because I think there's a couple that actually need, at least get it on their list of things to address going forward. This afternoon, maybe it was yesterday afternoon, I received something from the attorneys representing Summer Village and their CR amendment update. I'll include that in the commission's next meeting. Again, receiving it at the late time. Didn't want to include it in the meeting packet.
And that was basically the documents to be reviewed by town council?
Well, I've concurrently requested of the town manager that they be reviewed by town council to make sure that that the proposed steps forward are appropriate. Just so that we're not going down the path of, well, this this is inconsistent with, general law, chapter 40, all that stuff. And, oh yeah, we've gotten to the end of it and only to have town council say, well, no, you guys can't do this.
Okay, that makes sense.
Open space and recreation plan update, included in the commission's meeting packet was the email from the town's consultant with a link to the survey. Again, the survey flyer is also available in terms of...
Have people taken the survey?
Yes. Yep. There's a QR code you can go right
Yep,
to.
QR code, but the link's also hot.
No, the link in my plan was not hot.
Really?
But in the town manager's newsletter, there was a link.
How about that? That was.
So if you want to take it, and you have, but it's also closing October 31st. So
Right,
if you
so-
want to take it, you need to do it this week. But in the town manager's October newsletter, the survey is mentioned and there's a link there, and that was able to get me to it to take it.
CPC needs assessment hearing. Again, that was previously discussed. The only one off the top of my head is, again, kind of the Freedom Park improvements and that scope. There are a whole bunch of meeting minutes. I finally reviewed some.
Have people had a chance to review the meeting minutes for August 27th?
Yes.
Okay. I just had one editorial correction on page 3 where it talked about the leveling and retaining wall in the front yard of 47 Village View. That's actually in the backyard.
Yeah.
It's like just below the middle of it.
Yeah. Additions. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Level and retaining wall project in the rear yard.
Okay. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have people had a chance to review the minutes for September 10th?
Yep.
Any comments or corrections?
Nope.
Can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for September 10th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Have people had a chance to review the meeting minutes for September 24th?
Yep.
Can I have a motion to, any comments or changes? Can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for September 24th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, how are you, Matt?
October 8th, I did not have any. Weren't included in the meeting packet.
Yep.
Record the site visits, again, my apologies for, yeah, and attended, met with Dan Doherty out at NAB.
And Mike was there too?
Yeah, Mike was there too. Discussed during the discussion of it. Scheduling site visits, again, if the commission wants one to Freedom Park altogether to kind of take a look, I can do that. Also, I will get 43 Cold Spring Road to assess the existing conditions so that at the November meeting, the enforcement next steps for remediation can be discussed. If any commissioner has, and would the commission, do any commissioners have any questions about the materials that were included in the miscellaneous section as just kind of stuff that I respond to, Margaret responds to?
You couldn't make that meeting.
Yeah, the select board chair invited the commission and commissioners to attend last night's tri-board meeting in discussing the budget, and is hopeful a member of each committee will be able to join us going forward.
And I did go last night. If it was on, I believe it was recorded for Westford Cable Access TV. It was basically a discussion from about 7:05 to 8:10. It was very informative. One of the big takeaways for me was usually they talk just about the schools and the town employees' health care. One of the things that they did mention was that where they're starting to see the pinch is that they are, with professional development, there is so much limited funding now that professional development is focused just on staff members who need to take courses so that they can maintain professional certifications like PEs. The other thing they said is where it's, because where they're starting to see an impact is in the land use area, because there is so much activity, so much development, so much approved projects that there are demands for inspection. Building department and probably also conservation, that they are having troubles because they don't have the manpower to cover all those inspections, because budget constraints are preventing staff from expanding to meet the needs of those inspections. And you know, they're talking about the pressure that's putting on the land use management staff, as the pressure of increased class sizes is putting pressure on the teachers. And it's just, it's getting that message out there that, you know, these are tough times. This is not something like a bubble that we'll get through quickly. So just to be aware of these challenges that we're facing. 2026 is looking like a very tight year. We will probably see a continuation of that as we get into 2027. You know, from a budget perspective, leading up to town meeting.
Was that before or after town meeting?
So the tri-board meeting was last night, and it was basically they invited all the committees.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking about expenses, and I didn't go to this town meeting because I had been away. But I heard about the fields. You know.
Yeah, so it just is.
So, you know, an expense that maybe didn't have to happen if they went to CPC, if they were willing to have a different kind of field.
Yeah. But it was very much talking about making sure that the public is aware. How do we get the public engaged so that they understand what's going on, what's driving what they will see in the budget when we get to annual meeting. So if you want to watch it on WCAT, you can. But yeah, I was very glad I went. There was a lot more detail that they don't normally give you when we get to annual meeting, and it's, you know, it's helpful to understand. some of the challenges, healthcare costs, inflation, what's happening with programs that are being stopped at the federal level, that we may see stopped at the state level. You know, a lot of those are just rippling back on us. You know, Title I grants no longer coming in, then Title IV grants no longer coming in for on the school side of it. Deferred maintenance for all the buildings, where we're going to get the money to do that. It just, you know, I think they're trying to let people know that there are challenging times ahead of us. And so I appreciated the invitation last night.
Thank you for going.
Continuing through the miscellaneous items, I granted administrative approval to remove a second tree at 87 Hildreth Street. This was an addition that the commission recently approved. They were proposing to prune, I think it was a large pine, and the arborist said that due to its proximity to the addition, pruning it it's likely going to die. Again, this was further away than the original tree proposed to be removed. Again, pursuant to special condition 29, I administratively approved the work. 164 Main Street, also again, another order of conditions issued by the commission. They are proposing, as the barn on the property was condemned, and if it was to be demolished, if it hasn't already been, they had to relocate parking, and so they've showed the addition of 3 parking spaces, including some additional walkways on 1 parking space and additional walkway within the 100-foot buffer to the resource area, as the work is no closer than what was previously proposed and approved. I administratively approved that.
Where is that?
It's the Reed Farm, the house down there. Received from a National Grid's consultant notification of the installation of a pole. I don't recall which one this was, but they confirmed that it is in accordance with 3 times CMR 10.2B2H, which requires that all work be from the road within 10 feet of the road shoulder, as far from the resource area as practicable, and no tree clearing or grading in the buffer zone, and the machinery and vehicles will be located within the road surface. Included with that was the notification letter and location of its proposed work. The select board recently adopted board and committee appointment request process. As y'all have been previously appointed, it's more so just wanted to share current members' terms that are set to expire, just to understand what has been discussed and is the policy going forward. So if in March or April that gets added as a discussion item for an agenda, it, much like when I ask about board reappointment roles on the commission, I'm not looking to overthrow or kick anybody off. I don't have that power as much as as much as some people may think. So just want.
Did you ever get notices before about people, about seats rather that are open on boards? I don't ever remember hearing that come from anywhere.
Well, there's never been a seat open. I mean, you guys are like judges, you're on it forever.
No, but this is, yeah, so now we will not be automatically reappointed. We need to consider anybody who's submitted a volunteer activity form in the last 2 years.
Along with someone who wants to reapply.
Yes, so basically.
That's a riot.
So in March, the openings get advertised at the town level, will be communicated to. My thought had been, in April, we reach out to the sitting members. Are you interested in being reappointed? We reach out to everybody who's submitted a volunteer activity form, find out who is still interested. May we hold interviews? Existing members do not need to be interviewed. The second May meeting, we would have a discussion among the board members and make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, the Select Board, who we would request to have appointed or reappointed so that we get that letter to them by the 1st of June. They've got 2 meetings in which to act on that, because if they don't act on it and they do it at their first July meeting, we meet the next day. What's challenging this in 2026 is your chair, your vice chair, and Jim. We are all set to expire. If they didn't take actions, we would probably have to do something the last meeting in June to set an interim chair so that the worst case, nothing happens. We've got a 4-person board that is actually in a position to open and run the meeting.
That's pretty well.
So I'm just coming up with a plan of how we react with these new rules. What's our risk mitigation? What's our contingency plan in case something goes
nothing
awry?
to do.
Yeah. So,
That's
anyway.
first.
The Friends of Forge Pond provided their annual notice of their drawdown commencing a week ago.
It's already started.
Yeah. From the state, we have the drought status update. We're still in moderate, I think is the significant drought.
Or significant.
More rain coming.
Yeah, significant drought. A lot of definitions and a butter notification for coming attractions. The 37 Powers Road decision letters as sent out by the town planner from their approval, and notice of decision. The planning board approved a signed special permit for Orchard Church as out at the entrance in their driveway. If there are any questions, happy to discuss them offline as it is.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, we earned our money tonight.
You said you were going to give me that contract.
Oh, I'm not leaving? Okay, I want to adjourn the meeting first.
How about that motion
Okay,
to
can I have a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.